Chapter 4440. They had thought that they would find all kinds of cavern residences and palaces inside, but they found that it wasn't the case. After they entered, they found that there was a big river in front of them, which blocked all their paths. Moreover, it was just like the sea, which stretched as far as the eye could see. What was so bad about it? They could just fly. A strong cultivator soared into the sky and flew forward. The others also prepared to leave. However, at this moment, the situation changed. The strong cultivator had just left and arrived above the big river when countless frost appeared on his body, and he turned into an ice cube. He fell into the river and disappeared. This scene stunned everyone. Even those who were about to move stopped in their tracks. The strong cultivator was a half-step Saint King. He was very powerful. However, he died in an instant. After waiting for a long time, they still didn't see that person appear. So, they concluded that he must have died. At this moment, everyone's scalps went numb. They didn't expect that it would be so dangerous when they just entered. The Saint Kings also frowned. Did they have to leave? They looked at each other, and one of the Saint Kings even turned into a clone and flew out. In the end, he was frozen by countless ice cubes. Everyone was shocked by this scene. Even Saint Kings couldn't pass? Many people were worried about how to cross. Even the two people from the ethereal peak frowned slightly. Lin Xian used his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked ahead. He found that there were countless ice cubes in the river. It was obvious that someone had come here before, and they all died here. His heavenly secret divine eyes also found that there seemed to be extremely terrifying laws in the surroundings. They were affecting this space. It was obvious that he couldn't take risks easily. If he had come alone, he would have been able to use his 9-yang divine body to defend himself. However, he didn't do so now. Moreover, a smile soon appeared on his face. "It's here." Xueqi was stunned. She didn't know what Lin Xian meant by this. However, she also found out after a short while. Many lotuses floated over from the river in the distance. Those lotuses were blue, and they were made of frost. There were 10,000 lotuses, and they were about the size of a door. Those lotuses floated over from afar, and the people in the surroundings started talking. Could it be that they could only leave by using lotuses? Someone took a deep breath and jumped up. Sure enough, in the next moment, it continued to float into the distance along with the lotus. This scene caused everyone to exclaim in surprise. Sure enough, these people began to move. Let's move as well. The people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven took a deep breath. Among them, 9th young Master Yan led a few battle servants to a lotus. He turned to look at Xueqi and said with a smile, "Xueqi, come with me. I will protect you." However, Xueqi shook her head and said, "There's no need." She and Lin Xian went to a lotus. Seeing this, 9th young Master Yan's face turned cold again. Damn it, he actually didn't give him any face. He stared at Lin Xian, his eyes brimming with killing intent. If he had the chance, he would definitely kill this brat. In fact, he was not the only one who was surprised. The others were also surprised. This was because Xueqi was a peerless fairy, and she attracted countless gazes. Moreover, the other party's face was like an iceberg, as if no one could get close to him. However, at that moment, he had brought someone with him. Furthermore, that person was a young man. It was impossible for the crowd not to be surprised. When they saw that the young man was wearing the armor of a battle disciple, they were all shocked. They knew that he should be Xueqi's battle servant. Even so, many people were still envious of him. Some people's eyes even brimmed with killing intent. Xueqi didn't care about these gazes. Lin Xian shook his head helplessly. He had made so many enemies for no reason. However, so what? He had been fighting all this time, and he had never been afraid. Moreover, these grotto heavens were too hateful. His friends and fellow disciples were all suppressed and turned into puppets. Even if these people didn't attack him, he wouldn't let these grotto heavens go. One day, he would trample these grotto heavens under his feet. When they reached the lotus started to walk on the water's surface. Lin Xian didn't know where they were drifting to. Moreover, he quickly discovered that these lotuses' trajectories were different. This meant that they were all different from each other. It seemed like these lotuses had separated all the large groups. This meant that the danger they faced had increased by several folds. Of course, Lin Xian didn't care about this at all. This was because they could use their advantage to their advantage. In the end, they reached the opposite shore. Then, they walked over. The surrounding aura was somewhat gloomy, and snowflakes appeared in the sky once again. An ice-cold aura pervaded the air, and as they walked, their feet were covered with frost. It seemed like even the laws were about to freeze. Xueqi didn't care about this at all. After all, the mysterious ice art that she cultivated was a peerless ice magical ability. The frost made her feel even more powerful. She was slightly worried about Lin Xian. After all, Lin Xian was just a middle-stage Holy Venerate. Even a late-stage Holy Venerate would have to use his full power here. This was why she shot out frost, intending to envelop Lin Xian and relieve some of the pressure on him. However, she discovered that Lin Xian was just standing there calmly. There wasn't even a speck of frost on his body. It seemed like he wasn't affected at all. This surprised her. What's going on with this guy's body? Why isn't it affected at all? However, she still enveloped Lin Xian with a layer of laws. Lin Xian was taken aback. He looked at her and thanked her. Although this guy was ice-cold, he didn't seem like a bad person. Xueqi turned her head and said calmly, "Don't think too much about it. I just don't want you to freeze to death so quickly. After all, your formation is useful to me." Lin Xian shook his head. It was really cold. They continued to walk forward, and there were a few figures nearby who also walked up to them. When they saw that it was Xueqi, they wanted to invite her to form a team and explore together. However, Xueqi shook her head and rejected them. The others were helpless, and they could only continue on their own. After a short while, the sound of fighting could be heard ahead of them. This surprised Lin Xian and the others. The two of them also walked over. Soon after, they saw that the people in front of them had been stopped. There was a black-robed man in front of them, and his aura was extremely terrifying. It was a holy king. Lin Xian furrowed his brows. No, it wasn't a holy king. The other party was a half-step holy king, but he was holding a holy king weapon. What did this guy want to do? The black-robed man in front of them raised his head and looked at Lin Xian. Soon after, he laughed and said, "More people have come. Another one is a peerless fairy. It seems like my luck is really good. Now, hand over your storage rings obediently. I can give you a chance to live." Hateful. What kind of joke was this? The people in front of them were instantly angered. Their storage rings were basically all of their cultivation resources. Moreover, they couldn't hand over their secrets. "You've gone too far. Don't you know who we are? You have offended us. Even if you get them, you will surely die if you go out." The black-robed man laughed. "Do you know who I am? I have concealed my aura. Do you know who I am?" Chapter 44-41. As for this saint artifact, don't even think about it. This saint artifact has never appeared before, so you don't know my identity. Even if I kill you here, the grotto heavens and families behind you won't be able to find me. Hurry up, I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. After 10 seconds, I don't mind doing it myself. After he finished speaking, the Saint King weapon in his hand released an extremely terrifying aura. The expressions of those people in front of him became extremely ugly. Damn it, he's going too far. Everyone, let's attack together. As one of them roared, the 6 of them attacked together. Heaven and earth rumbled, and a terrifying aura tore the void apart. It made everyone's scalps go numb. However, the black-robed man in front of them sneered when he saw this scene. They were overestimating themselves. He waved the Saint King weapon in his hand. It was a long saber, and as the saber slashed down, the 6 figures were all sent flying, and their bodies were split open. One strike was enough to injure 6 experts. One could imagine how powerful this person was. Of course, he relied on the Saint King weapon in his hand, but no matter what it was useless. No one could compete with him. Boom! Another strike fell, and the 6 people's bodies, which had just healed, were sent flying again, vomiting blood. The black-robed man said, "Did you see that? You'd better obediently hand over your storage rings. Otherwise, you'll end up worse than him." The expressions of the other people became even uglier. However, at this moment, a cold snort sounded. "You're too arrogant. Do you really think that you can sweep away everything with a saint artifact?" As soon as those words came out, the surrounding people were stunned. The black-robed man also raised his head and looked forward. Soon, he sneered. He didn't expect that there would be a peerless fairy here. The others also turned their heads. In the next moment, they exclaimed in surprise. "That must be the genius of the 1,000-mountain grotto heaven, Shuiqi." Yes, they didn't expect that she would also come here. Could it be that she also has a Saint King weapon in her hand? That's possible. It's said that her identity is not ordinary. The people started to discuss. The black-robed man was also stunned. "So, you're the legendary Shuiqi. Now that I've seen you, you're even more beautiful than the rumors say. You want to compete with me? Do you have a Saint King weapon? If you do, I can let you go. If you don't blame me." The black-robed man sneered. So what if the other party's identity was not ordinary? If he made a move here, the 1,000-mountain grotto heaven would not be able to find him. "I don't have a Saint King weapon, but I don't need a saint weapon to deal with you," Shuiqi snorted coldly. Despair appeared in the eyes of the others once again. The black-robed man, on the other hand, laughed loudly. "No sacred artifacts? You still dare to be arrogant in front of me? You're too naive. Where do you think this is? 1,000-mountain cave? Here, no one will give in to you." At this moment, the black-robed man's laughter suddenly stopped, as if he had been caught by someone. This was because a faint voice rang out. She was right. The Sage King's weapon was powerful, but it was not invincible. "I don't need a Saint King weapon to kill you." "What?" Everyone was stunned and turned to look. However, when they saw that it was only a battle servant who was only at the middle stage of the Saint Venerable realm, they were all stunned. How could such a person dare to speak such arrogant words? His cultivation was probably the lowest among all of them. The black-robed man also stared at Lin Xian. "So it was just an ant. Since you don't know what's good for you, I'll send you on your way first." He walked forward. The others retreated. They looked at Lin Xian and shook their heads. However, no one helped him. Because they were not confident that they could fight against the black-robed man. Lin Xian looked at the black-robed man and smiled. He said, "Are you sure you want to attack me? You can't bear the consequences." "Stupid brat, don't worry, I won't kill you. I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death." Facing Lin Xian, the black-robed man did not use a Saint King weapon. Instead, he directly stretched out a palm and slapped forward. In his opinion, there was no need to use a Saint King weapon to kill an ant. The others also cried out in surprise. They all felt that Lin Xian was dead for sure. However, in the next moment, a roar sounded, and a bloody mist filled the sky. Everyone was stupefied. Was that brat dead? They looked over and realized that he was not. The black-robed man was the one who was injured. Half of the black-robed man's body turned into a bloody mist. Lin Xian stood there with a cold smile on his face. How is this possible? What just happened? They were all stunned. The black-robed man was injured. The black-robed man's pupils contracted. He could not believe what had just happened. He roared crazily, and the bloody mist that filled the sky condensed back into his body. "Hateful brat, I didn't expect you to be a genius. You dared to plot against me. You should die." This time, he used a Saint King weapon in his hand. As the blade slashed down, the wind and clouds swirled. Even Shuiqi's eyelids twitched. She could not help but want to attack. However, she discovered that Lin Xian was extremely fast, and he managed to dodge the blade. At the same time, he stomped his foot, and countless arrays appeared in the surroundings, enveloping the whole sky. Arrays? Can you contend against me? The black-robed man snorted disdainfully. Lin Xian did not intend to continue attacking. Instead, he stood there and said, "Do you want to live? If you want to live, then listen to me and cooperate with the arrays." What? A battle servant dares to order us around? The people in the surroundings were infuriated. Those who were able to come here were all top-notch geniuses or experts. Normally, they would laugh arrogantly in an area. However, they were now being ordered around by someone, and they could not tolerate it. However, Lin Xian said, "I will give you a chance. If you refuse, then don't blame me for not saving you." The people in the surroundings sneered. What a joke! They wanted to escape. They wanted to help this battle servant. This was why some people wanted to escape. Who wanted to escape? The black-robed man shouted angrily, and he slashed two people in half with his blade. Their souls were destroyed. The people in the surroundings were frightened, and they did not dare to escape. The black-robed man was still so powerful. However, Lin Xian said, "You have already lost your best chance. Since you don't want to attack, then I will do it myself." He waved hand signs, and a terrifying array surged out. 36 golden crows soared into the sky and shone brightly. They turned into a peerless sun that shone in all directions. Their terrifying aura melted the ice and snow in the whole world. When the black-robed man sensed this, he roared crazily and waved his blade to contend against it. His arm was numb. He realized that the other party's array was really powerful. Even if he could reach the other party was extremely fast, and he seemed to know spatial techniques. He could not hurt the other party at all. Therefore, he roared, "Kid, I will let the two of you go, and I will apologize for what happened before. How about we stop here? You go your way, and I will move my hands." Lin Xian said, "An apology is not sincere enough. I want half of your storage ring." Chapter 44-42. The black-robed man was stunned, but he soon understood. He nodded. "All right, I'll consider myself unlucky. I've kicked an iron plate. I'll give you half of the storage ring." Lin Xian withdrew the array formation, while the black-robed man waved his hand and looked at the others. "Since you don't want to hand it over, don't blame me for taking action." He attacked the other people. The rest of the people were stunned and shouted at Lin Xian, "Hero, save our lives!" "That's right, young master, I beg you to help." Lin Xian sneered. "Didn't you guys look down on me and think that I'm a battle servant? Aren't you high and mighty and disdainful of helping me? What, now you're begging me, and I said it? I only gave you one chance. Since you didn't cherish it, then don't blame me." Everyone fell into despair. Some people gritted their teeth. They had already missed the opportunity once, so they didn't want to miss it again. Therefore, they directly threw their storage rings over. He immediately ran away. There were still some people who hesitated, and they were directly chopped into a bloody mist. In an instant, those people either fled or died. There were only 3 people left: the black-cloaked man, Xueqi, and Lin Xian. Xueqi was startled. She hadn't expected that Lin Xian would possess such an ability. The black-robed man took out half of his storage ring and gave it to Lin Xian. "This is for you, my friend. How should I address you?" Lin Xian took the storage ring and said, "You don't need to know who I am, because we are not the same kind of people. I'll let you off this time, but you'd better not meet me in the future. Otherwise, I won't be able to settle the matter with just this storage ring." After Lin Xian spoke, he turned around and said to Xueqi, "Let's go." Xueqi nodded and walked over. The two of them then flew forward. The black-robed man stared at Lin Fan's back as he left. What an arrogant brat! However, the opponent's formation was extremely powerful. He had no choice but to look for other prey. After Lin Xian and Xueqi left, he asked Xueqi where they were going. Xueqi had told him to look for a place where the power of ice and snow was the most terrifying. There should be treasures there. He used his laws of ice and snow to sense it. Then, he said, Let's go over there. The two of them rose into the air and flew into the distance. In front of them was an ice canyon, and beside the canyon were two ice sunflowers. These weren't ordinary sunflowers. They were two demonic beasts that were extremely terrifying. Judging from his aura, he was already a half-step holy king. At this moment, several holy venerates stood in the surroundings, preparing to attack the ice sunflower. Soon, someone walked out and used a peerless divine ability from the university. Terrifying light shone brightly, shrouding heaven and earth as it charged forward. However, the ice sunflower continued to sway, and the sunflower seeds flew out. Like flying swords of ice, they pierced through everything. It pierced through that person's divine ability. Not only that, but that person also vomited blood and was sent flying, several bloody holes appearing on his body. His body was sealed in ice, and he couldn't even use his strength. Seeing this scene, the others were also shocked. However, another person said, "Let's join hands." These people joined forces and prepared to step forward. Stop it! However, they had still underestimated the two sunflowers. These two ice sunflowers were truly too powerful. Their sunflower seeds seemed to have turned into tens of thousands of flying swords that swept through everything. Unexpectedly, half of the people were killed, while the other half were injured, and they quickly retreated. Damn it! The treasure was right in front of them, but they couldn't go over. It was too hateful. These people fled far away, gnashing their teeth. They were unwilling to accept this. Suddenly, they were taken aback, because they discovered that two more rays of light were flying toward them. Someone was coming. However, what could two people do? In this place, these two ice sunflowers were too terrifying, and they needed at least 4 half-step holy kings to suppress them. Xueqi looked ahead and spoke. That's right, there was a powerful ice element energy there. Moreover, there was someone else. Lin Xian used his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked ahead. Soon, he saw that a great battle seemed to have taken place in front of them. The two people were very fast, and after they descended, they saw many traces of a battle on the ground. There was also some blood. It was holy blood, which was extremely terrifying. The two ice sunflowers in front of them kept dancing. They even let out ice-cold laughter, which made people's hair stand on end. Foolish humans, you want to contend against us? You really don't know the meaning of death. Hurry up and get lost. The treasure here isn't something you can get. These two ice sunflowers spoke in human language. They were so arrogant. They were just two demonic beasts, yet they dared to be so arrogant. Before Lin Xian could say anything, another cold laughter echoed from the sky. Shortly after, 3 people descended. It was a young man, who had terrifying purple lightning on his body. At the same time, there were 2 battle servants behind him, and they were also extremely terrifying. The 3 of them were unexpectedly half-step holy kings, which was really shocking. That's great. When the people in the distance saw this scene, they all cried out in surprise. Including Xueqi, there were 4 half-step holy kings. Perhaps they could suppress the 2 ice sunflowers in front of them. This fairy must be Princess Xueqi. I'm from the Purple Spirit Cave, and my name is Zilei. Why don't we join hands and kill these 2 demonic beasts? Then, we can take the treasure together. What do you think? The other people also wanted to join hands, but Zilei just snorted coldly and said, "Trash like you, get lost!" He waved his hand, and a bolt of lightning flew out, sending the 3 people flying. The other people were also frightened, and they quickly retreated. This person was too strong, and he was too arrogant. He didn't even give them a chance. He was really hateful. Xueqi frowned slightly, while Lin Xian said, "We won't join hands with you." "What did you say?" Zilei was taken aback, and he stared at Lin Xian. He laughed and said, "You are just a battle servant. What right do you have to speak here?" Lin Xian sneered coldly. "Your Purple Spirit Cave attacked our 1,000 Mountain Cave, and now you want to join hands with us? What a joke!" Sure enough, Xueqi also said that. "That's right, I won't join hands with you." Zilei frowned. Princess Xueqi, you better think clearly. How can you suppress these two demonic beasts with your own strength? Even if you are also an ice element martial artist, so are your opponents. You don't have any advantage. Moreover, you actually listened to a battle servant's suggestion. How disappointing. Don't you think it's ridiculous? If you want to take the treasure, you can only join hands with me. Lin Xian's face darkened, and he said coldly, Who do you think you are? Hurry up and get lost. Otherwise I will kill you. What did you say? Zilei was furious. He had never been challenged by a battle servant before. He immediately said to a battle servant beside him, Go and chop off his head. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. A battle servant beside him walked over. He was also a half-step holy king, and he held a long spear in his hand. He was also an ice element martial artist. The sky was filled with ice, and it kept condensing. Chapter 44-43. You dare to attack my people? Have you thought about the consequences of your actions? Xueqi furrowed her brows, and an ice-cold glint appeared in her eyes. Princess Xueqi, our statuses aren't ordinary. There's no need for you to get angry over a battle servant. As he spoke, the saint with the long spear had already attacked. His spear pierced through like an ice dragon. The surrounding people exclaimed. They all knew that Lin Xian was dead for sure. As for Lin Xian, he took a step forward. He sent a slap over. It was as if his palm had transformed into a sun that blossomed between the heavens and earth. The ice and snow that filled the sky disappeared. Boom! After one strike, the spear shattered. The half-step Saint King battle servant also spat out blood and flew back. His body was torn apart. His body was enveloped in divine flames, which burned continuously. The surrounding people were all stunned. He had killed the half-step Saint King with one strike. This kid's strength was too terrifying. Purple Thunder was also stunned, unable to react for a long time. How could there be such a terrifying expert? In the next moment, an extremely cold light burst out from his eyes. Damn it! No wonder Xueqi had such an extraordinary status, yet she only brought one person with her. It turned out that she was a top-notch expert. It seems like I've still underestimated you. Princess Xueqi, you really have great means. But are you really not going to join forces with me? Xueqi was also surprised. She knew that Lin Xian was powerful, but she assumed that if he wanted to defeat a half-step Saint King, he would have to rely on a formation. But who would have thought that the other party would be able to end the battle with a single palm strike? The strength of his physique was beyond her expectations. I told you to get lost, did you not understand? Lin Xian also walked out and stared at Purple Thunder. Since he wasn't leaving, then he might as well stay. He took a picture in front of him. Purple Thunder's pupils shrank. You're courting death. So what if the other party was strong? He was only a battle servant. Would he dare to make a move against him? Let's kill him together. Zilei roared as lightning surged from his body. The other person beside him also attacked. He turned into a gust of wind and tore through the void as he charged towards Lin Xian. Two half-step Saint Kings attacked together. Their power was terrifying. The surrounding people were all stunned. Unexpectedly, the people from the two grotto heavens came in and started fighting. In the distance, the two sunflowers coldly laughed. Foolish humans, they were actually fighting here. When the time came, they would be able to reap the benefits. The two men sneered. Xueqi also wanted to help him, but she discovered that the battle had ended very quickly. That was because Lin Xian's punch had sent that Saint King flying backwards, blood spurting from his mouth. His body was torn apart. Then, Lin Xian kicked out. There were endless flames on it. Other than that, there was no other power of law. It was the power of the divine body. On the other side, the purple lightning formed into a lightning spear. It was unparalleled, and the terrifying power of lightning carried a destructive aura as it pierced through the heavens and earth. It collided with Lin Xian's right leg. Everyone began to worry about Lin Xian. However, this time, the crowd discovered that nothing had happened. Lin Xian was unharmed, while Zilei was sent flying backwards. His body was also torn apart, and he spurted out a large mouthful of blood. Lin Xian's figure swayed, and he stepped on the other party's body, crushing him beneath his feet. Do you think that you are superior and can look down on me? In my opinion, you are the foolish one. Shock, everyone was stunned. What is going on with this guy's body? Xueqi also opened her eyes wide. She couldn't believe it. Zilei's mind went blank, and he roared crazily. This is impossible. I don't believe it. The three of them couldn't block this guy's attack? He was especially shocked, as he was being stepped on by someone. Damned lad, you dare to attack me? Do you know who I am? Before he could finish his words, Lin Xian slapped out with his palm, shattering his face. Who are you? I don't care who you are. Today, even if you are a saint king, you will still die. Boom! After he spoke, he stomped his foot, and his boundless divine body's power blasted him into pieces. Even his soul was destroyed in an instant. What did I do? What did I do? I unexpectedly killed the Paradise's genius. Did I go crazy? They couldn't even withstand a single blow. Lin Xian sneered coldly, and he took their storage rings and weapons. Then, he shook his head. His current body was at the Saint King realm, and no matter how strong these half-step Saint Kings were, they couldn't contend against him. They couldn't even block a single strike from him. Did you just kill him? Xueqi was also surprised. Lin Xian said. I already told him to get lost, but he didn't want to leave. He wanted to die, so I sent him to hell. Xueqi was surprised. She felt like he wasn't a battle servant, but a top-notch genius. He was like the supreme existences of the Misty Peak, who could look down on everything. Come to think of it, the other party should also be an unparalleled genius in other worlds. However, it was a pity that he was suppressed by their paradise after he came here. No matter how strong he was, his future would be bleak. Lin Xian didn't think so, and he didn't say anything. He just said, Okay, let's deal with these two demonic beasts. After he spoke, he walked forward, and a ball of 9 suns divine fire appeared in his hand. It was like a golden crow, and it kept revolving around him. The 2 sunflowers were also taken aback. This human is so strong, and his body seems to have surpassed that of a half-step Saint King's. The 2 sunflowers discussed this, and they snorted coldly. Lad, you are really strong, but you are still not a match for us here. Terrifying ice and frost emanated from their bodies, and the 2 sunflowers started becoming bigger and bigger. They turned into 2 giant creatures, and their terrifying auras became even stronger. Darn it! These 2 sunflowers were hiding their power. If they joined hands, they would be as strong as a Saint King. The people in the distance fell into despair once again. Even Xueqi wore a grave expression. Lin Xian said, It seems like our formation is about to appear. Let's attack. Xueqi nodded. Then, the 2 sunflowers started forming hand signs and setting up a formation around them. Their spell formations flew out. It was a heavenly steel formation, and it was specially used for suppression. After the formation was set up, 49 heavenly steel illusions appeared in the sky, and they suppressed everything. Die! The 2 sunflowers shouted angrily, and they waved their giant bodies, which seemed like saint artifacts, and they swept all around them. At the same time, they shot out sunflower seeds, which filled the sky, and they turned into tens of thousands of flying swords. The people in the surroundings still wanted to approach them, but they were instantly sent flying. They spat out mouthfuls of blood. It was impossible for them to participate in a battle of this level. On the other side, in the boundless snowy mountain, several people were surrounded by terrifying purple light, and it seemed like lightning could penetrate everything. After killing several demonic beasts in front of them, one of them furrowed his brows. It was a middle-aged man, and he waved his hand and took out a badge. At this moment, cracks appeared on the badge. Chapter 44-44. When the others saw this scene, they frowned. Purple Lay was actually killed? Damn it! Who did this to him? The middle-aged man was a saint king. He formed a seal with his palms, and endless laws flew into the token. The broken token started to burn, and then turned into a blurry image. At the same time, purple light flashed in his eyes. He saw a figure surrounded by golden flames punching out, destroying everything in its path. Then, he said, "It was this person who did it. He should be a fire elemental saint." Moreover, he already knew the direction of Purple Lay's death. Those people shouldn't have gone too far. Let's go quickly. This was a team of 5 people, and the leader was the Saint King. They quickly flew into the distance, while the others wore cold expressions. However, they dared to attack the people of the Violet Spirit Paradise. They would definitely make them wish they were dead. On the other side, Lin Xian and Xueqi were fighting the 2 sunflowers. One had to admit that the 2 sunflowers were really powerful. The flying swords they shot out were extremely terrifying, and there were so many of them that they seemed endless. What surprised Lin Xian even more was that the power of the 2 sunflowers didn't weaken. Instead, it continued to increase. It seemed that there was something that was providing them with power. He activated his heavenly secret divine eyes as he set up the formation. Soon, he discovered that there was a stone in the canyon. The stone was as big as a millstone, and after the stone was broken, it formed many pieces. The biggest one was as big as a bull, while the rest were as big as a fist, and some were as big as an apple. In short, they were scattered in a certain area. At this moment, the sunflowers were absorbing the power of the stone. At this moment, Xueqi frowned and said, "If I'm not wrong, there's definitely an Ice Soul Divine Crystal here. The 2 sunflowers must be borrowing the power of the Ice Soul Divine Crystal. Hurry up and find it." The Ice Soul Divine Crystal was a supreme treasure for an ice elemental saint. Lin Xian was also surprised when he heard that. He nodded. He naturally knew where it was. However, he didn't say it immediately. Instead, he secretly transmitted his voice to Little White. Back then, Little White, the Crimson Dragon, and the Toad came together. Whitey followed beside him, while the Crimson Dragon and the Toad separated. Therefore, Lin Xian didn't know about their situation. After Whitey came out, she looked into the distance. His figure flickered and disappeared. Then, he hid in the void and disappeared. Not long after, Little White returned with the 2 largest Ice Soul Divine Crystals. The whole process was silent, and Xueqi didn't notice it. However, the 2 sunflowers discovered this because they felt that the Ice Soul Divine Crystals that provided them with energy had suddenly decreased. Immediately, they let out crazy roars. "Who was it?" Lin Xian said. "I've already found the location of the Ice Soul Divine Crystal. Hurry up and go." Xueqi was delighted. "Is this true?" A smile appeared on her face. Then, a blue long sword appeared in her hand. He swung his sword forward. Lin Xian said, "I'll control the array. Go quickly." Lin Xian took over the formation and began to control it. The 2 sunflowers roared, wanting to intercept him. However, he was slapped by Lin Xian's palm. After Xueqi left, Lin Xian didn't conceal himself in the array. His divine body appeared, and terrifying flames caused the expressions of the 2 sunflowers in front of him to change drastically. They became alarmed. "Is this the aura of flames? Heavens! This should be the legendary divine flame. This is a super powerful body." Such a person was an extremely terrifying existence on the buried Emperor Star. How could he be a battle servant? The 2 demonic beasts went crazy. "Who the hell are you?" they asked in alarm. Lin Xian said, "You don't know who I am. If you don't do anything, I'll spare your lives. Moreover, I'll ask her to leave a piece for you." The 2 sunflowers thought for a moment and said, "Fine." They didn't dare to attack him. This was because such a powerful body was their greatest restraint. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he nodded. He said, "Xueqi, leave a piece for them." Xueqi, who was below, had already seen the Ice Soul Divine Crystal. When she heard Lin Xian's words, she was startled. However, she also left a piece for him. She put away the rest of the Eye-Soul Divine crystals. Soon, she arrived above. When she saw that the two sunflowers weren't fighting, she became confused. What's going on? Lin Xian, who had already put away his 9-yang divine body, spoke. Perhaps they didn't want to fight after witnessing my strength. Since I've already gotten it, let's go. Xueqi nodded. Then she took out a piece of the Eye-Soul Divine crystal and said, "This is for you. Although I know that you don't comprehend the laws of ice, you still put in a lot of effort. You should take it. Perhaps you can exchange it for other treasures after you leave." When Lin Xian heard this, he nodded and took it. He didn't care about it. After all, he had already taken away the two largest pieces of the Eye-Soul Divine crystal. After all, Xueqi's Eye-Soul Divine crystals weren't even comparable to his. The two sunflowers put away the array and prepared to leave. However, it was at this moment that several terrifying auras appeared in the distance. A Saint King's aura engulfed heaven and earth. At the same time, he roared, "Who dares to attack the purple spirit shaking heaven's people? Kneel down and accept your death!" When these words were spoken, the people in the surroundings were so scared that they almost knelt down. It was too terrifying. A Saint King had come. Xueqi's expression also changed. Not good. Let's leave quickly. They didn't expect that the purple spirit shaking heaven's people would come so quickly. Moreover, there was a true Saint King among them. No matter how strong the two of them were, they couldn't be compared to a true Saint King. The two sunflowers soared into the sky and flew toward the distance. However, at this moment, a palm engulfed heaven and earth and sealed everything. It seemed like the Saint King had attacked directly. Xueqi's expression changed drastically. Even the apex geniuses wouldn't be able to face such a terrifying power unless they had a Saint King's weapon. Only if they possessed a heaven-defying magical ability could they fight a Saint King. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to overcome this power and the suppression of the laws. Lin Xian set up an array formation, which was a spatial array formation. He immediately left this space and appeared on the other side. Then, he said, "You should leave first." "What will you do then?" Xueqi was taken aback. "This is a Saint King. Do you want to contend against him?" Lin Xian said. "My mission is to protect you. You should leave first." As he spoke, he used the spatial array to engulf Xueqi. Xueqi still wanted to say something, but her body had already disappeared. Lin Xian's eyes, however, shone with an extremely cold light. A Saint King? It just so happened that he wanted to see what kind of power his divine body had reached after it made a breakthrough. Previously, neither the sunflower nor the purple lightning could make him use his full power. Chapter 44-45. In the sky, the Saint King from the Xiling Wonderland shouted angrily. "Do you want to leave?" He attacked again, wanting to attack Xueqi. In his opinion, Xueqi might be the one who attacked him. However, at this moment, a terrifying radiance burst out from below. It was as if a sun had descended to the world. Then, a golden figure charged out like a god of war. "Do you want to die?" When the Saint King sensed that the opponent's aura was not that of a Saint King, the palm in the sky fell down. A mere ant dared to go against him? Lin Xian, on the other hand, attacked aggressively. His fist seemed to have transformed into a peerless golden crow that soared into the sky. It collided with the opponent's palm. Boom! 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 When the two collided, the sky fell and the earth cracked. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. The people in the distance knelt down on the ground. Their scalps went numb, and they almost fainted. After the attack, the terrifying palm in the sky was pushed back. The Saint King's pupils shrank. His body was so strong that it was not weaker than his. Who is he? His eyes could see through everything. However, at this moment, he saw the golden fist coming toward him again. "You want to die?" He roared and threw out two palms. He collided with the opponent again. After an earth-shattering sound, he was pushed back. The geniuses from the wonderland behind him were also stunned. What the hell? Who is this person? Is he another Saint King? They did not dare to move forward. On the other side, the golden figure also rushed into the sky and disappeared. Elder, who exactly is he? Do you know which wonderland he is from? The people from the Xiling wonderland asked. The Saint King leading them looked cold. He did not seem to have the aura of a Saint King, but his body was not weaker than mine. I don't know which side he is from. However, I think the people around us should have seen it. We should be able to find out after we collect their souls. Let's go. The 4 figures beside him flew into the distance, wanting to collect the souls. However, at this moment, a pair of golden eyes appeared in the sky. They were like the eyes of a god, looking down. The terrifying eye technique was activated. Those who had watched Lin Xian's fight were instantly affected by the eye technique, and their memories were changed. Damn it! The middle-aged Sage King wanted to make a move, but the pair of golden eyes had already disappeared. His expression became even colder. Could it be that there was more than one person? Not only was there a person with an extremely strong physique, but there was also an extremely terrifying soul expert. Who exactly was it? On the other side, Lin Xian also flew into the distance. Previously, he had exchanged 3 palm strikes with the Sage King, allowing him to know his own strength. His current physique was definitely not weaker than a Sage King. Therefore, even if he met a Saint King in the future, he would be able to contend against them. This made him really happy. Lin Xian didn't immediately join Xueqi. After all, it would be best for him to act alone. With his strength, as long as a few saint rulers did not join hands, he would not be in any danger. With a sway of his body, Lin Xian flew towards a direction in the distance. At the same time, an extremely terrifying law of death emerged from his body and enveloped him. In this space, the great snow mountain was vast and boundless. Within the snowy mountain was a pagoda. Ice Tower. The pagoda exuded an extremely mysterious aura as great Taoists intertwined within it. Obviously, this was a martial pagoda, and there were definitely supreme great Taoists within it. It was very useful for sage venerables to raise their law of death. It was also very useful for sage kings. At this moment, there were a few figures standing near the ice martial pagoda. These people's strength and auras were unusually strong. There were young geniuses, and there were also experts of the older generation. One of them had boundless arrogance in his eyes. He was young Master Ling Tian. Other than him, people from the other grotto heavens were also present. Green Hill Grotto Heaven, Vast Grotto Heaven, and some primordial tribe experts were also present. There were even sage kings present. These people gathered together and looked at the ice martial pagoda in front of them. Their eyes shone brightly. Let's break the array seal in front of us together. Young Master Ling Tian walked out and said coldly. There were 3 battle servants behind him, including Fu Hongye. Fu Hongye was expressionless as she followed behind young Master Ling Tian respectfully. Hearing young Master Ling Tian's words, the others looked at each other and nodded. Sure. These people attacked together and broke the array seal in front of them. Then, they walked into the ice martial pagoda. Not long after they entered, another figure descended from the sky. This person had an extremely strong aura of death. It was Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked at the pagoda in front of him and was shocked. What a strong martial aura. The array seal had already been broken. It seemed like someone had entered. He activated his heavenly secret god eyes and a smile appeared on his face. He was not too late. His body swayed and he walked into the ice martial pagoda. After he entered, the cold aura inside became even more terrifying. Fortunately, with his divine body, he did not need to defend himself. Soon, he arrived at the front. The people in front of him had already stopped. This was because they realized that there was a huge statue there. It was emitting a faint blue light. It was carved out of ice crystals. At this moment, the statue was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It was emitting an extremely terrifying aura. It was surrounded by a vast hall. Other than that, there was not much else. This surprised everyone. Could it be that there was no treasure here? Suddenly, they heard another aura coming from behind them. Someone had entered? Who was it? They had worked together to open the treasure vault, and did not allow anyone else to enter. Immediately, many terrifying gazes turned to look behind them. Their gazes were filled with murderous intent. Those who were weaker would not be able to withstand it. Lin Xian naturally felt the pressure too. He frowned and shouted coldly. He threw out a punch. The black palm shone with a golden light as it tore the void apart. Then, he came in front of everyone. This person was not simple to be able to avoid the pressure of so many people. Everyone frowned. In the next moment, they saw a figure surrounded by black laws standing in the air. The cold aura on his body made them feel extremely uncomfortable. Young Master Ling Tian also turned around and frowned. He asked coldly, "Which grotto heaven or family do you belong to?" Hearing this voice, Lin Xian turned his head to look. When he saw that it was young Master Ling Tian, his face darkened. This was a good opportunity. If he killed young Master Ling Tian, he should be able to meet Fu Hongye. He said calmly, "I'm a rogue cultivator." "A rogue cultivator? I'm not qualified to be here." Another person snorted coldly. This person was from the ancient race. He had a terrifying frost on his body. He was from the ice serpent race. Chapter 44-46. Lin Xian stared at the person who spoke. It was a young man who was a half-step Saint King. Clearly, he was a genius from the ancient race. Lin Xian looked at him and suddenly smiled. In the next moment, he attacked. Boundless death precepts formed a sword of death and flew out. "You're courting death. You dare to attack me?" The young man bellowed and slapped out with his palm. Freezing cold covered the sword of death and froze it in midair. A cold smile appeared on his face. "Do you see that? The difference between us is that." Before he could finish speaking, his pupils constricted. In the next moment, he felt a figure appear behind him. A palm had turned his body into a bloody mist. How could it be? When did the other party appear behind him? He was too shocked. However, he didn't have to think about it anymore because this palm had destroyed his astral soul. Lin Xian killed a half-step Saint King with a single palm. Then, he asked indifferently, "Now, am I qualified?" The surrounding people were shocked. This person was very terrifying. Moreover, his strength was too strong. It was really shocking. When the other members of the Ice Serpent clan saw this, they shouted angrily, "You're courting death!" They attacked wildly. Ice arrows and ice blades flew over. However, Lin Xian suddenly disappeared, leaving behind a death vortex that emitted a terrifying aura. This made the Ice Serpent clan's faces turn ugly. "Alright, stop attacking. He's qualified to be here." At this moment, an elder said coldly. This elder had an unusually strong aura. It was as if he could suppress the world. This was a Saint King from Howren Grotto Heaven. Since a Saint King had spoken, the others didn't attack. Young Master Ling Tian glanced at Lin Xian and sneered. He didn't care if there was one more person. In his opinion, it didn't matter if there were a few more people. As long as it was a treasure, it would be his in the end. There seemed to be nothing on the first level. The surrounding people started to investigate, and found that there was indeed nothing. At this moment someone said, "There's a staircase. Let's go over." They walked toward the staircase, wanting to enter the second level. However, they found that there was a huge seal on the staircase. Was it another seal? One of the Saint Kings threw a punch at him. This was a Saint King from the Thousand Mountain Grotto. Lin Xian had seen him before. He was called the Earth Holy King. He was an expert of the earth element. His strength and defense were extremely strong. His punch could definitely shatter a world. However, the seal didn't budge in the slightest. Was he that strong? Everyone was astonished. It seemed like they had to work together. Another two Saint Kings walked over and joined forces to attack. However, they discovered that it was completely useless. The faces of the crowd turned extremely ugly. Even with 3 Saint Kings attacking together, they still had no chance? At this moment, Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret god eyes and looked at the eye sculpture in front of him. Don't waste your energy, you won't be able to open it. What was the meaning of this? Are you doubting our strength? The 3 Saint Kings in front turned their heads and emitted a piercingly cold light. The void around Lin Xian kept cracking. Even though his current physique wasn't weaker than a Saint King's, being stared at by 3 Saint Kings still made him feel extremely pressured. He said loudly, I'm not doubting your strength, but I'm saying that your method is wrong. I think that the key to entering the second level should be him. He pointed at the eye sculpture in front of him. The surrounding people also looked over. That thing? Are you sure? The Earth Saint King asked in a deep voice. Lin Xian nodded. He should be right. If I'm not wrong, this should be an array, and this rank sculpture is the key to the array. Since that's the case, I'll just blast it away. The great Earth Saint King threw out a punch. His strength was shocking. With a boom, the entire world began to shake and sway. However, the sculpture wasn't damaged. Damn it, was it really that sturdy? The Earth Saint King frowned. He took out a mountain-splitting axe. That was the weapon of a Saint King. At this moment, it exploded with endless power. He wanted to attack again. Lin Xian frowned. This guy was too crazy. The Earth Saint King was a very tall man. He was like a giant. Lin Xian looked at him and said with a frown, I advise you not to attack. Since this was an array, then he had to follow the rules of breaking arrays. If he attacked rashly, it might cause unnecessary trouble. Hearing this, the others also said, Enough, Earth Saint King, stop. Let's listen to what this guy has to say first. Lin Xian's entire body was wrapped in the aura of death. Moreover, when he spoke, his voice was hoarse. Therefore, in the eyes of the crowd, he wasn't a young man at all. He might be an expert of the older generation. Lin Xian raised his hand and formed an array. It shrouded the front. Suddenly, the ice sculpture shook non-stop. Countless laws of ice appeared around him and enveloped the surroundings. Soon, countless rays of light formed an ancient arena. It looked like a battle was about to start. Many people took a deep breath when they saw this scene. The Earth Saint King even said, I'll do it. This guy's speed was really fast. Many people were surprised. In their opinion, if they won, there might be some mysterious reward. However, it was probably impossible for them to go up. Because there was a change in front. After the Earth Saint King went up, cracks appeared on the ice sculpture in front of him. Then, with a crack, it cracked open. A figure walked out from inside. Roar! With a roar, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook. It was a blue demonic beast. Blue frost. Its cold gaze swept across everything. It looked like a lion, but it was even more peculiar. Its tail was like a meteor hammer. Moreover, its body was like a small mountain. There was a pair of blue wings on its back. When it spread out, the temperature of the entire space kept dropping. Even those half-stepped Saint Kings resisted with all their might. Even the Saint Kings frowned. How terrifying! It was actually a rare beast of heaven and earth. Lin Xian also looked carefully. Then, he frowned slightly. He realized that the other party was indeed very strong. It wasn't weaker than a Saint King. Moreover, it looked like this guy wasn't a normal rare beast of heaven and earth. It seemed to have been refined by someone. It was actually the Ice Snow Fang. This was a legendary demonic beast. It was really surprising to see it here. Hearing this voice, Lin Xian felt that it was somewhat familiar. He turned around and then narrowed his eyes. It was a woman in a Taoist robe. She held a round fan in her hand and gently waved it. There was a mysterious aura all over her body. Lin Xian had seen this person before. She was Insu from Qingqiu Grotto Heaven. He didn't expect her to come too. Feeling Lin Xian's gaze, Insu also turned around. A look of confusion appeared in her eyes. She felt that this person was somewhat familiar, but she couldn't remember where she had seen him before. Although his physique had reached the level of a sage king, there was still a certain gap between him and a sage king in terms of nomological laws and other divine abilities. He clenched his fists. He had to quickly increase the power of the great dragon sword soul and let it reach the Saint King level. At that time, he would truly be a fearless Saint King. Thinking of this, he secretly gave the 2 pieces of Eye-Soul divine crystals to the great dragon sword soul so that it could quickly absorb the energy and improve. At this moment, the 2 people in front of him clashed again. The sky-splitting axe swept out in all directions, together with the power of the soul of the earth. On the other side, Bing Shue's body was covered in endless icicles, and a great path of frost filled the sky. The 2 great paths were constantly intertwining, and the 9 heavens and 10 lands were shaking. Fortunately, the martial pagoda was very magical. Otherwise, if it was somewhere else, the entire world would have been shattered. It was a shocking battle. In the end, the Earth's Saint King kept retreating, and endless rocks condensed on his body to form a battle armor. It protected his body. The soul of the earth even merged with him. The sky-splitting axe in his hand became dim. However, he managed to block the shocking attack. The storm in the sky was shattered by him. On the other side, Bing Shui was sent flying again. The cracks on his body were even more terrifying, and he was almost split in half. Ka ka ka! A blue ball of light appeared in his body and flew toward the Earth's Saint King. Bing Shue's body was once again covered in ice, and he became an ice sculpture. What's going on? Is it over? When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were all stunned, while the King of Earth looked extremely nervous. In the next moment, he felt an extremely terrifying power of the law coming from the ball of light. Moreover, there was no danger. His body swayed, and he grabbed the blue ball of light. Suddenly, endless great paths wrapped around his body. This was the power of the law, and they could obtain the power of the law by defeating the sculpture. Everyone's eyes were red. At their level, they could destroy the world with a raise of their hand, but it was very difficult to improve further. The resources and power needed were really too much. They might not even improve for a few hundred years. However, it was possible under special circumstances. For example, if they found some treasures in this ancient secret realm, they could save hundreds or thousands of years of cultivation. This was a great opportunity for everyone. They did not expect the Earth's Saint King to obtain it. Lin Xian was also surprised. He used the heavenly secret god eyes and saw that the Earth's Saint King's law contained a layer of frost power. Obviously, this was the law power that he had just obtained. At the same time, the Earth's Saint King saw the stairs in front of him shining. He walked forward. Everyone, I'm going to the second level. The other people's eyes were red, and they also followed. However, they were blocked. The Earth's Saint King walked over. Damn it, we can't go up. The Saint Kings all turned their heads and stared at the ice sculpture. Only by attacking and defeating him would they be qualified to enter. In an instant, everyone went up the battle stage. Lin Xian naturally went up as well. However, everyone was worried. With so many people attacking together, who would win? However, in the next moment, they seemed to find that there seemed to be a barrier around them. There was a frost tooth in front of everyone. What a terrifying formation! Lin Xian was surprised. He found that this did not seem to be an illusion, and the power of each frost tooth was not weaker than the previous one. Boom! A great battle broke out in an instant. It was very terrifying. In an instant, many people were sent flying and vomited blood. These were all late-stage Saint Venerables and half-step Saint Kings. They originally thought that with a dozen battle servants attacking together, they could at least resist. However, they found that they could not resist at all. Chapter 44-48. After a single move, they were sent flying and injured. This made them not dare to rely on the test anymore. They could only stay outside and wait with gritted teeth. It seemed that unless one was a true Saint King, it was impossible for others to pass. Some people gritted their teeth and turned to leave. They did not have the strength of a Saint King at all. Of course, some people stayed here. That was because their elders and experts were inside. Someone said, "No, there are a few of us who have not come out." "Are you talking about young Master Ling Tian? Although he's a half-step Saint King, I'm afraid that his methods are far from what we can compare to. It's even beyond our imagination. Also, Insu from Qingqiu Grotto Heaven did not come out either. Meng Hao from Haoran Grotto Heaven did not come out either. The young genius from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven did not seem to come. However, the Earth's Saint King from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven was extremely terrifying." Everyone was discussing. Someone said, "Oh right, the mysterious person from before also seemed to have gone in and had not come out yet." These people were all waiting. In front of them, an endless storm of laws was set off. There was also a sky full of frost that covered everything. The people could not see clearly at all. They could only hear extremely terrifying auras clashing. Lin Xian looked around and found that this barrier was very mysterious. Even a Saint King could not see through it. This made him heave a sigh of relief. This was great. This way, he did not have any worries and could directly attack with all his strength. The ice fang in front of him roared into the sky. The cracks that were shattered by the Earth's Saint King had disappeared. This meant that the other party had indeed been refined by an even more terrifying existence, equivalent to a puppet guardian. Roar! The ice fang roared, shaking heaven and earth. Its huge body charged over. It carried a storm that filled the sky. Its wings also carried a fierce aura. In an instant, the ground around Lin Xian froze, forming a layer of frost. Lin Xian was also frozen. Terrifying claws slapped over, wanting to smash Lin Xian into pieces. Lin Xian sneered. The death precept on his body disappeared and was replaced by a ball of divine fire. The terrifying 9 suns divine fire instantly exploded, melting the frost in the sky and turning it into white mist. It danced between heaven and earth. As for him, he sent out a palm strike. The 9 suns divine palm collided with the opponent's claw. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Lin Xian took 3 steps back, while Ice Snow Teeth was also knocked back. What a strong power, but so what? Lin Xian laughed heartily and charged forward. Previously, he had only exchanged 3 blows with the sage ruler of the Xiling Grotto Heaven. He then left. Now, he was truly going to make a move. His terrifying fist continued to swing as his powerful physique charged forward and engaged in a fierce battle with his opponent. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. After exchanging tens of thousands of blows, Lin Xian let out a hearty laugh. It had been a long time since he had fought someone like this. However, he also knew that it was time to end this. He took out the spear of great destruction and used the power of his divine body to complement this inherited weapon. He was probably extremely powerful. A single strike pierced through heaven and earth. Endless demonic chi shook the 9 heavens and 10 lands. At that moment, even the people outside were frightened. Who was attacking? Even the people in the other barriers also changed their expressions. What a terrifying demonic aura! There was also a terrifying power. Who was it? Even the sage rulers were extremely surprised. Finally, Lin Xian defeated Ice Snow Teeth. A blue light came out of Ice Snow Teeth's body. Lin Xian used the Great Dragon Sword Soul and directly swallowed the power of the laws. The Great Dragon Sword Soul now urgently needed all kinds of power to improve. This power was amazing. Great. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Such a battle should have consumed a lot of energy. However, Lin Xian sensed that his strength had become even more powerful than when he had entered. Great. Lin Xian was overjoyed. If he could reach the top of the pagoda. He didn't know how strong the Great Dragon Sword Soul would be. Thinking of this, his figure swayed as he walked out of the barrier and toward the stairs in front. At the same time, the golden flames on his body disappeared. What replaced it was the death fog again. Before him, a sage ruler had already entered. It was the sage ruler of Hauran Grotto Heaven. After him, there were also sage rulers who came out. For example, the sage ruler of the Ice Serpent clan and other sage rulers. There were a total of 6 sage rulers. Other than them, there were half-step sage rulers. Among the half-step Saint Kings, there were 3 people. These 3 people were also extremely powerful. The first was young Master Ling Tian. Although young Master Ling Tian was a half-step sage ruler, he had a sage ruler weapon in his hand. Not only him, but Meng Hao of Hauran Grotto Heaven and Yin Su of Qingqiu Grotto Heaven also had sage ruler weapons. Therefore, the 3 of them also successfully passed the first level. After obtaining the power of the laws, they continued to move toward the second level. When the 3 of them arrived, they found that there were already 7 people standing in front of them. 6 sage rulers and a mysterious person. Other than them, there were only the 3 of them. The other experts and geniuses were not qualified to enter. Lin Xian looked at the 3 of them and revealed a look of surprise. As expected of the buried Emperor Star, the 3 of them should have used their trump cards. He guessed that they should be sage ruler weapons. 10 people, more than he had imagined. Including the second level, let's not be courteous, said the old man of Hauran Grotto Heaven in front of them. Their gazes were all focused on the front. There was also a large hall in front of them. Moreover, in the middle of the hall, there was also an ice statue. At this moment, as the crowd walked forward, the ice statue was constantly shaking. Then, countless cracks appeared on it, forming a barrier. Amidst the shattered ice, a figure walked out. When this figure appeared, everyone's expression changed. They felt an extremely terrifying aura sweeping over from the front. It caused everyone's bodies to stiffen. Even Lin Xian felt an enormous pressure. So powerful. The puppet guardian of the second level was probably much stronger than the one on the first level. It was a 3-eyed ice dragon from the Dragon Clan. Damn it, it was actually such a powerful existence. When the old man of Hauran Grotto Heaven saw this, his expression turned ugly. He said, "Hurry up and leave if you don't have the strength." After saying that, he looked at the genius of Hauran Grotto Heaven. It was Meng Hao. When Meng Hao heard the elder's warning, he wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Countless barriers appeared around them, enveloping them. Not good. The elder of Hauran Grotto Heaven's expression changed. He did not expect it to be so fast. He did not know how their people were doing. There was nothing they could do. Here, life and death were up to fate. Even if they were defeated, they should be able to survive. Thinking about how these people all had sage ruler weapons, they were not too worried. In the next moment, the sage rulers looked forward with cold expressions. Even if they wanted to defeat such an existence, it would not be easy. Damn it, who the hell is this guy? The guardian refined was too powerful. This pagoda had a total of 7 levels, and the second level was already so terrifying. They wondered how heaven-defying the higher levels were. Chapter 44-49. Everyone's faces were extremely serious. Even Yin Su, Meng Hao, and the others took deep breaths. They knew that it was impossible for them to pass the trial. Hence, they decided to use all their strength to train themselves. Young Master Ling Tian's eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking. But soon, he broke into a grin. The 3-eyed ice dragon's aura and strength were very strong. It was much more terrifying than an ordinary initial stage Saint King. Hence, no one dared to underestimate it. Moreover, the dragon tribe was the leader of all monsters. It was the legendary divine beast bloodline. It was extremely powerful. Thus, the crowd all felt enormous pressure. The Earth Saint King took a deep breath. He looked extremely solemn. He also felt a sense of danger. He was very clear about his own strength. He was afraid that this battle would be very difficult. However, he still made his move. His eyes became sharp and the law of earth appeared on his body. In an instant, he used the vigor spirit. Then, a giant axe appeared in his hand. the axe slashed forward. The terrifying strength could split the world. On the other side, the three-eyed ice dragon also made his move. He roared and the storm on his face turned into frost. He flew out. It collided with the mountain's splitting axe. Boom! With one blow, the Earth Saint King was sent flying. Countless cracks appeared on his hands. He almost couldn't even hold his own weapon. It was too terrifying. His opponent did not come. He only shot out a ray of light, and it was already so terrifying. As for the dragon tribe, it was said that their physique was even more terrifying. If this continued, he would not have any chance of winning. As expected, he was injured even more severely. On the other side, the other 5 Saint Lights were also in great danger. Lin Xian stood there with a strange look on his face. The Dragon Clan? To be honest, if it were other monsters, he would not have any chance of winning this battle. After all, it was too powerful. It was far more powerful than the Ice Tooth from before. However, if it was the Dragon Tribe, it would be different. Up ahead, the 3 eyes of the three-eyed ice dragon looked at Lin Xian with disdain. Clearly, in his eyes, such an ant would not even be able to block a single ray of his frost light. Human extremely cold light suddenly burst out from his eyes. Before the other party could make a move, he had already used the Dragon Clan's breathing technique. A mysterious aura appeared between the heavens and earth. The three-eyed ice dragon in front of him was stunned. He felt an aura similar to his own. Was this person in front of him a dragon? He wasn't sure if he was still roaring. The light of frost came straight at him. Lin Xian used Void Escape and instantly dodged. A black hole appeared where he had been standing and was quickly sealed in ice. Most likely, even a Saint King would not be able to withstand this attack. However, Lin Xian relied on his spatial ability to appear and disappear unpredictably. Coupled with the Dragon Clan's breathing technique, the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul was even stronger. Tens of thousands of dragon shadows coiled around his body. He was like a dragon god, incomparably powerful. The three-eyed ice dragon was even more confused. It roared at the sky, as if questioning Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian took out the blue dragon horn. The voice of the blue dragon horn could be heard. The blue dragon horn could command the Dragon Clan. After the three-eyed ice dragon heard it, it changed. It seemed to be suppressed, a suppression that came from its soul. Although it had now become a puppet guardian, it was still a dragon. Under the blue dragon horn, its power was suppressed. This was a good opportunity. Lin Xian used the Great Dragon Sword Soul and used the blue dragon horn with all its might. There was no suspense in this battle. As expected, the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul and the unparalleled secret technique were fully activated. The blue dragon horn showed its power. The three-eyed ice dragon did not attack. The frost on its body condensed again, forming an ice sculpture. Lin Xian succeeded in passing. He breathed a sigh of relief and put away the blue dragon horn. Lin Xian walked out. Then he entered the 3rd level. He actually went in! Yinsu exclaimed. Meng Hao's pupils constricted. The 2 of them had been beaten out earlier. At this moment, they were waiting in the distance. When they saw Lin Xian come out, they were extremely surprised. He was the first one to come out. It was completely inconceivable. How could this person be so terrifying? After all, the strongest of the 6 Saint Kings was the old man from vast heavenly grotto heaven, who was very close to the mid-Saint King level. Next to him was the Saint King from the Divine Mammoths. After him were the Earth's Saint Kings. They guessed that the elders from vast heavenly grotto heaven had come out earlier. Unfortunately, they were wrong. Was it really that mysterious person? Rumble! It was at this moment that a huge boom rang out. Next, a figure was sent tumbling backward, coughing up blood. It was Saint King Ice Snake. Meng Hao and Yinsu were both shocked. Had a Saint King finally been defeated? Saint King Ice Snake was a middle-aged man, and his face was as pale as death. Damn it! Damn it! Truth be told, he was very strong. Unfortunately, he was an ice snake. He was of the ice serpent race, and when he encountered the ice dragon race, his bloodline and soul were naturally suppressed, and he could not use his full strength. Therefore, he was defeated. Following that, more and more Saint Kings were defeated. They were not willing to accept this result. However, they were all seriously injured, and could only grit their teeth. They wondered who would pass in the end. Saint King Ice Snake frowned. On the other side was Saint King Blackhawk, who radiated boundless killing intent. My guess is that there are at most 2 people who passed. Elder Howren is one of them. Other than him, the divine mammoth sacred king might have succeeded. However, it was at this point that Meng Hao said, "Seniors, the mysterious person has already passed the 3rd level." What? Once these words were spoken, the expressions of the Saint Kings changed. Someone had already successfully passed? Damn it, who the hell is that mysterious man? I don't seem to sense the aura of a Saint King on him. Could it be that he was hiding his true power? This person is terrifying. If we run into him in the future, we'll have to be careful. The Saint Kings began to discuss the matter. It was at this point that Elder Howren let out a roar and charged out immediately. He did it! Meng Hao clenched his fists in delight. After emerging, Elder Howren entered the 3rd level. Not long after him, another tall figure appeared. His power was even more terrifying than that of the Saint Kings in the grand competition. He was Saint King God Mammoth, a member of the 10,000 primeval tribes, and possessed an extremely powerful bloodline. He also emerged from the 3rd level. However, he didn't seem to be in a good condition. His blood was stained, and he seemed to be seriously injured. Despite that, he had succeeded. Obviously, he had benefited greatly from this. Before long, Saint King Earth King was sent tumbling backward, blood spraying from his mouth. Although he had been able to hold on for so long, he had reached his limit. There was no way he could defeat the 3-eyed ice dragon. Chapter 4450. Damn it! The Earth Saint King gritted his teeth. If Elder Tianshi was here, he would definitely succeed. Elder Tianshi was a mid-stage Saint King. However, he was not in this area. They should have all come out. Elder Ice Snake looked around. However, Insu did say that there was one more person, Ling Tian. That guy was still inside. What? He was also inside. The Saint Kings were stunned. They were no match for it. How could a young man like Ling Tian block it? These people looked ahead in disbelief. In the area ahead, Ling Tian's face was pale. His body was covered in blood, and he held a purple scroll in his hand. This was the weapon of a Saint King. He was no match for the 3-eyed ice dragon at all. Logically speaking, he should have been eliminated long ago. However, he was still standing here at this moment. Young Master Ling Tian was not defeated because there was a figure standing in front of him. It was a person wearing battle armor. This was the battle servant's battle armor. This time, young Master Ling Tian brought 3 battle servants. Among them was Fu Hongye and the other 2. This person was one of them. This battle servant was not ordinary because he was a Saint King, and a very powerful one at that. Young Master Ling Tian was the top genius of Xiling Grotto Heaven. His grandfather was also a Supreme Elder. Moreover, he was very terrifying. His cultivation had reached the Great Saint Realm, but he was 3,000 years younger than the other Supreme Elders. It could be said that there was a possibility of further advancement in the future. Therefore, Ling Tian's identity was naturally not ordinary. Among his battle servants, there was a Saint King. At this moment, it was this Saint King who blocked the attack in front of him. In the end, this Saint King battle servant even defeated the 3-eyed ice dragon and won. In front of him, a blue light of the great Tao appeared again and enveloped young Master Ling Tian. Then, his power of the laws also increased. Then, he walked out and walked towards the 3rd level. No way, did he really succeed? Outside, those who had failed were also very surprised when they saw this scene. How on earth did this brat succeed? No one knew. On the 3rd level, Lin Xian stood there. His eyes flashed as he looked at the ice sculpture in front of him. He did not act rashly. The three-eyed ice dragon on the second level was already so powerful. The guardian on the third level would probably be even more terrifying. After waiting for a while, he noticed that someone had come up. It was an old man. The old man from the vast sky grotto heaven was stunned as well. He originally thought that he was the first to arrive, but he realized that Lin Xian was already here. Not long after that, another tall figure walked over. His body was injured. It was the statue Holy King. When he arrived, he was equally surprised when he saw the two of them. Your Excellency, you're truly skilled. May I know who you are? The elder of the Howren Grotto Heaven asked once more. Lin Xian didn't say anything. Sage King God Elephant frowned. It seems that only the three of us have passed. I wonder if the three of us can join forces. Before he could finish, footsteps came from the stairs. Then, a fourth figure appeared. The three of them turned their heads. Who was it? Was it the Earth Saint King or some other saint? However, when they saw that it was a young man, they were all stunned. It was him. Lin Xian was also surprised. It was actually young Master Ling Tian. At this moment, young Master Ling Tian had 3 battle servants behind him. There was a smile on his face. How did this guy get up here? The 2 Saint Kings were surprised. Lin Xian was surprised. He had some ability. Compared to his younger brother, young Master Ling Su, he was much stronger. However, since he dared to make Fu Hongye a battle servant, Lin Xian wouldn't let him off. All right, let's begin, Lin Xian said coldly. He walked forward. The other 2 Saint Kings also took a deep breath. Young Master Ling Tian also walked up. When they got onto the battle platform, the ice sculpture in front of them cracked again. Then, a guardian walked out. It was a huge ant. Its entire body emitted a metallic luster. With a light wave of its claws, the heavens and earth immediately collapsed. Seeing this scene, Elder Howren sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn it, it was actually the legendary heavenly horned ant. It was an extremely terrifying exotic beast. Its strength was extremely terrifying. Everyone's expression became even more unsightly. The heavenly horned ant was even more terrifying than the three-eyed ice dragon. However, since they had already reached this step, it was impossible for them to admit defeat directly. They had to give it a try. After Ling Xian arrived, his expression was also serious. He guessed that such a terrifying demonic beast was at least a mid-stage Saint King. He couldn't fight against it. Therefore, he didn't plan to continue. Instead, he used his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked into the distance. He was looking for young Master Ling Tian. Since he couldn't defeat the Guardian, then Lin Xian had to see Fu Hongye. At least, he had to break the seal in Fu Hongye's body. There were a total of 4 barriers in the sky. Soon, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. These barriers were mysterious. Even Saint Kings couldn't see through them. However, his heavenly secret divine eyes weren't affected. He realized that young Master Ling Tian was actually beside him. In other words, as long as he broke the barrier, it would be fine. Lin Xian used the void escape technique. Although this was the only space-type mystic ability he knew, he had already mastered it to the acme of perfection. In addition, the power of the great dragon's sword soul had increased. Therefore, he directly came to the spatial barrier where the other party was. When Lin Xian came out, young Master Ling Tian was startled. In the next moment, his pupils shrank. It's you. How did you get in? He was also very nervous about this mysterious person. Previously, he didn't care about him. However, since the other party could come here, it meant that the other party was definitely a Saint King. Why? Do you want to attack me? You don't know the difference between life and death. Young Master Ling Tian snorted coldly. He waved his hand and 3 people walked over. The one at the front released an extremely terrifying power of laws. Lin Xian was surprised. It was actually a Saint King battle servant. No wonder you could come here. Indeed, The most powerful battle axes of ordinary top geniuses were only half-step Saint Kings. He didn't expect that this kid would have a Saint King battle servant. It seemed that he was a Saint King from another world. After coming to the buried Emperor Star, he was suppressed. Although I don't know who you are, I can feel your killing intent towards me. However, since you dare to go against me, I can only say that you don't know the difference between life and death. Kill him. Young Master Ling Tian waved his hand and the 3 battle servants directly attacked. Among them, the battle servant Saint King was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian felt the threat. He didn't take it head-on. His body shook and he directly dodged. Then, he took out the Great Sage Pagoda. He put the Saint King and the Heavenly Horned Ant inside. Damn it, what did you do? Young Master Ling Tian was stunned. The Saint King had disappeared. That strange beast had also disappeared. Only they were left. He had to face it alone. How could he be a match for a mysterious Saint King? Chapter 44-51. He said, "Don't mess around. Let me tell you, my grandfather is the Grand Elder. If you attack me, you'll be completely offending the Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven. The consequences are not something you can imagine. Leave obediently now and release my battle servants. I can pretend that nothing happened." As soon as he finished speaking, he was slapped and his entire body flew high into the air. His face was smashed. Then, he was stepped onto the ground by a foot. Damn it, how dare he hit my face? Damn it, who are you? Why are you doing this? He roared crazily. Have I offended you? Lin Xian sneered. I just want to attack. Why? Are you unhappy? As he spoke, he attacked continuously and completely smashed the other party's face. In fact, he even smashed the other party's body. A bloody mist condensed in the sky and the other party was terrified. Damn it, if my grandfather catches you, he'll definitely not let you off. Is that so? Lin Xian snorted and directly activated his heavenly secret divine eyes, locking the other party's soul and sending him into the cycle of reincarnation. I'll let you suffer a little. Lin Xian did not kill him, but he did not let him off either. He spared his life because of Fu Hongye. At this moment, young Master Ling Tian could not resist at all in front of Lin Xian. His soul entered the cycle of reincarnation to be punished. Lin Xian, on the other hand, looked at the other 2 battle servants and attacked them directly. He waved his hand and cast the yin-yang image, suppressing one of them. Then, he looked at Fu Hongye. The 5 elements laws flew out and formed a 5 elements mountain that enveloped Hongye. Then, Lin Xian walked up and said, Hongye, it's me. Fu Hongye roared crazily. His eyes were red and the killing intent on his body kept erupting. Even though he was suppressed by the 5 elements mountain, he fought back crazily and cracks appeared on his body. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian sighed and waved his hand, causing the other party to fall into a deep sleep. Lin Xian discovered that there was indeed a seal in Fu Hongye's body. It was also a life and death curse, but the arrangement of the runes was different. Therefore, the way to break it was different. This was probably the difference between grotto heavens. However, to Lin Xian, it was all the same. He immediately unleashed the great dragon sword spirit to break through it. At this moment, the great dragon sword soul had gone through the energy of the first and second layers. In addition to the eye soul god crystal from before, its might had become even stronger than before. Therefore, Lin Xian was even more powerful. He was also much faster at deciphering them. Of course, even so, Lin Xian still spent 2 days to completely remove the life and death curse in Fu Hongye's body. Then, he used his heavenly secret god eyes to carefully check again. After discovering that there was no danger, he used the great dragon sword spirit to form a fake life and death curse and placed it in the other party's body. He infused his power to wake Fu Hongye up. After Fu Hongye opened her eyes, she looked around cautiously and said, Senior brothers, junior brothers, run! However, he realized that there was no danger around him. What's going on? Was he dreaming? However, when he saw Lin Xian, he exclaimed, "Young martial uncle, it's you. Everything's fine now." "That's great. Are we safe now?" Lin Xian said. "No." He told her everything that had happened. After hearing that, Fu Hongye said, "No wonder. Why do I feel like I can't remember anything? I've become a battle servant, a puppet." She was really scared. If Lin Xian hadn't met her, she might have been a puppet for the rest of her life. "How are the others?" Lin Xian asked. Fu Hongye shook her head. "I'm not sure either. The situation back then was too dangerous. Moreover, there were too many enemies. Everyone was separated. I was suppressed by the Sage King. However, I know that Shangguan Shaoxian and Lu Yuan are also in Xiling Grotto Heaven. That's because the three of us were put under the life and death curse together." After hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. He already knew the whereabouts of the three of them. He wondered how the others were doing. He also wondered if Qing Qing and Xiao had left. Fu Hongye asked, "Young martial uncle, how is master? Has he been suppressed as well?" Lin Xian said, "No. He left. I'm now in Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven. Nominally, I'm a battle servant. However, I've already removed the life and death curse. I've also removed your life and death curse. What do you plan to do now?" Lin Xian asked. He looked at Fu Hongye and said, "You have two choices. First, I'll kill Ling Tian. Then you'll be free. You can go somewhere else to cultivate and come back when you're stronger. Second, you can be like me and pretend to be a battle servant. You can use Xiling Grotto Heaven's cultivation resources to strengthen yourself. When the time is right, you can leave. However, this way, I won't be able to kill Ling Tian for now." Fu Hongye thought for a moment and said, "I'll stay." He wasn't familiar with the buried Emperor Star. If he went elsewhere, he might be suppressed again and become a battle servant. He might as well stay here. After all, he was no longer threatened by the life and death curse. Moreover, he could use the cultivation resources here to cultivate. As for Ling Tian, he said, "I'll personally kill this person." "All right." Lin Xian nodded and said, "I won't kill him. However, I won't let him go so easily either." He waved his hand and endless laws, including a black rune, appeared. "What's this?" Fu Hongye was stunned. Lin Xian said, "Great Saint Corpse poison. When I expelled the poison from those Saint Kings, I left some behind. Firstly, I want to study it. Secondly, it might have an unexpected effect." After doing this, Lin Xian waved his hand and injected the drop of Great Saint Corpse poison into young Master Ling's body. Then, he said, "It won't take his life, but it won't make him feel good either. All right, you should be careful from now on." He stood up and retracted his eye technique. At this moment, young Master Ling had already fainted. His soul had been tortured for over 1,000 years and had long been seriously injured. Coupled with the Great Saint Corpse poison, even if he didn't die this time, he would be seriously injured. He might even become a cripple. Lin Xian took out the Great Saint Pagoda and released the Heavenly Horned Ant and that Saint King. That Saint King was already on the verge of death. He wanted to escape from the Great Saint Pagoda, but he realized that he couldn't break it at all. This was the weapon of a great saint. Even if he used all his strength, he couldn't break it open. Therefore, he could only dodge the Heavenly Horned Ant's pursuit. But even so, he was still seriously injured. Lin Xian snorted coldly. After releasing the two of them, he left. He walked out of the barrier. On the other side, the divine statue saint and Elder Howren also left. Of course, they both failed. The two of them looked forward. There were still two people who didn't come out. They wondered how that mysterious person was doing. And Ling Tian, why was that guy so strange? How could he last for so long? Chapter 4452. Suddenly, they realized that the mysterious man had walked out. He did not continue to the 4th level. It seemed like he had failed. The two of them heaved a sigh of relief. They knew it. If the other party succeeded, it would be too heaven-defying. After Lin Xian came out, he did not stop. With a flash, he flew down. He left the pagoda. At the same time, a few other figures also flew out. It was young Master Ling Tian and the others. However, young Master Ling Tian's situation was not good. His face was pale, and there was even a mysterious black aura around him. After coming out, the Saint King battle servant roared at the sky. "Ah, damn it! Young Master, how are you? Damn it!" The aura on his body was terrifying. However, the saint blood made one's scalp numb. Sensing this aura, Elder Howren's face changed. It was actually a Saint King. No wonder Ling Tian could come here. It turned out that he had brought such a terrifying existence. The two of them immediately understood. However, even if that was the case, Ling Tian would still be heavily injured. The Saint King battle servant raised his head and said, "Where is the mysterious man? Where did he go? He actually dared to beat young Master Ling Tian to such a state. My purple spirit grotto will not let him go." What? This guy was not beaten by the heavenly horned ant, but by the mysterious man. What kind of joke was this? How could that guy pass through the barrier? Damn it! The battle servant crushed the token on his body and quickly gathered the people of Purple Spirit Heaven. Not long after, the people of Purple Spirit Grotto arrived. When they found out that young Master Ling Tian was severely injured and even poisoned, all of their faces changed. Young Master Ling Tian's identity was extremely terrifying. If he were to die here, his grandfather, the Supreme Elder, would definitely be infuriated. All of them would suffer. Therefore, these people said to take out pills to save young Master Ling Tian first. Everyone stopped searching for treasures. These people were incomparably nervous. The people of other grotto heavens were even more shocked. Young Master Ling Tian was heavily injured. Especially Elder Howren and the others, they were even more shocked. That mysterious man was too terrifying. He actually dared to do such a thing. How did he do it? In an instant, the people of Purple Spirit Grotto frantically searched for that mysterious man. However, Lin Xian had already left. After he left, he changed his aura. He had 10 types of laws. After putting away the law of death and releasing the law of 5 elements, the situation instantly changed. Even if these people turned the world upside down, they probably wouldn't know that he was the one who did it. Although he had only gone to the 3rd floor, Lin Xian's harvest was not small at all. First, the great dragon sword soul had been upgraded. Then, he had saved Fu Hongye. He was very satisfied. Among them, Elder Chen Su exclaimed. It was the Earth Saint King. Great! A figure came from afar like a god of war. The earth seemed to come alive under his feet. He brought him to the front in an instant. On the other side, the people of the Xiling Grotto exclaimed. Even the people of the ancient race looked cold. They naturally knew that the Earth Saint King was an expert of the earth element. He was very powerful and had boundless strength. His defense was strong, and he was a difficult opponent. Now that the other side had an additional Saint King, the situation would be different if they continued fighting. Therefore, the people of the Xiling Grotto said, "You are very lucky. Let's go." The leading elder waved his hand, and those people quickly left. "Damn it, we can't let them escape. Chase them!" Elder Chen Su shouted angrily. They had suffered a lot before. Now that the Earth Saint King was here, they could take revenge. However, the Earth Saint King stopped them. "Forget it, don't chase them." "Why?" Elder Chen Su wanted to ask more, but the Earth Saint King's face turned pale. Instantly, he spat out a mouthful of blood. "What happened? Are you injured?" Elder Chen Su was shocked. The others were also very nervous. Who could injure a Saint King? Moreover, it was a Saint King with such strong defense. Chapter 4453. I'm fine. I came across a martial pagoda and went in to look for opportunities. I was injured by the guardian of the pagoda. The Earth Saint King took out an elixir to heal his injuries. At the same time, he briefly explained what had happened. Everyone was shocked when they heard it. Elder Chinsu said the same thing. Did you say that Ling Tian was severely injured and his life was uncertain? Who on earth was that mysterious man? No matter who he was, it would be great. The people of Xiling Grotto Heaven were being arrogant now. They all laughed. They did not know that the mysterious person they were talking about was right next to them. Hurry up and heal your injuries. We'll meet up with Princess Xueqi and young Master Yan. Elder Chinsu waved his hand and took out a saint weapon. He then led everyone away quickly. It turned out that after Xueqi and Lin Xian left, she went on her own and met young Master Yan and the others. She had no choice but to stay there for the time being. Later, the people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven found an ancient cave with a powerful seal. Obviously, there were unimaginable treasures in it. However, it also attracted other experts. Therefore, the people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven summoned other experts and gathered them quickly. They were searching for the ancient cave. After flying for about 3 days, the saint weapon landed and a group of people walked out. A cold voice came from the front. Who is it? It's me. Elder Chinsu took out a token. It shone brightly with the image of thousands of mountains on it. The people in front heaved a sigh of relief. Then 2 middle-aged men walked out. They said, You're finally here. How's the situation? The group asked as they walked. The seal is very powerful. We can't break it in a short time. Moreover, the people of other grotto heavens will discover it as time passes. It's not good for us. At this moment, another group of people walked out from the front. The leader was young Master Yan. When young Master Yan saw the 2 Saint Kings, he smiled. However, when he saw a figure in the group, he immediately frowned. It's you. Great. A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Just as he was about to order the Saint Kings to kill Lin Xian, Xueqi walked out from behind. He furrowed his brows, but he didn't issue any orders. After all, he didn't want to have a falling out with Xueqi. When Xueqi arrived and saw Lin Xian, she was overjoyed. Are you all right? That was great. How did you escape the pursuit of the Saint King? This scene stunned everyone. Was this still the incomparably cold ice mountain fairy? Everyone was in disbelief. It should be known that Xueqi was always ice-cold and expressionless. She never worried about anything. But now, he was actually worried about a battle servant. They felt as if they were dreaming. The saint rulers all frowned. They felt that something was not quite right. As for 9th young Master Yan, his face turned extremely ugly, and an extremely cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. He had already treated Xueqi as his woman, so he didn't allow anyone to get close to her. But now, Xueqi was actually so concerned about a battle servant. This filled him with killing intent. He would definitely not let this brat go. If he had the chance, he would personally kill him. Lin Xian frowned as he felt 9th young Master Yan's murderous intent. He sneered in his heart. Would 9th young Master Yan let him go? He also wouldn't let him go. If he had the chance, he wouldn't mind sending him to hell. As Lin Xian looked at Xueqi, who was in front of him, he smiled and said, It's nothing. I used the 2 sunflowers to obstruct the Saint King. So I left. Xueqi didn't doubt Lin Xian's words. After all, she didn't believe that Lin Xian alone could contend against the Saint King. At this moment, Elder Chinsu frowned and asked, Princess Xueqi, what's so special about this battle servant? Xueqi was taken aback. Soon after, she realized that she had been too worried. She didn't seem like someone who would treat a battle servant. Elder Chinsu took a deep breath and regained his composure. He then said coldly, He's not ordinary. His formation skills are extremely high. With him here, we can break the seal. What? Is this really the case? The saint rulers were taken aback. If this was the case, then Princess Xueqi's behavior could be explained. Brat, are your formations really amazing? Let's quickly come and take a look. The elder in front of them couldn't wait any longer. Xian walked forward and observed the formation. He then frowned. The formation was extremely complicated. It was built with the 5 elemental laws as its foundation. The people in the surroundings were also taken aback. They had studied it for a long time, but they didn't expect that this brat would be able to see through it so quickly. It seemed like this brat was really an expert in formations. Someone asked, "Is there a way?" Lin Xian nodded and said, "There is a way." But what?" another elder asked. His name was Golden Wind Saint King, and he was 9th young Master Yan's protector. Lin Xian said, "There is a way to break the formation. But the process of breaking the formation and the energy required are too great. With just our paradise, it will be very troublesome. Even if we break the formation, we will consume a lot of energy. When other paradises come, it will be difficult for us to resist them. So, I think that it's better to spread the news and let other experts use their power. Break the formation quickly." "Brat, do you know what you are saying? Are you trying to give away our treasures? Do you want to die?" 9th Prince Yan's face was cold. Lin Xian looked at him and sneered. "Do you think that if we don't spread the news, those people won't be able to find us? We are all paradises. Don't underestimate our strength. Also, I'm just giving a suggestion. As for the decision, it's up to the elders." After saying that, Lin Xian stood there and didn't say anything. The elders' eyes flickered and they began to discuss. In the end, they nodded. "All right, let's do it. Spread the news and let them come." 9th Prince Yan's face was ugly. He felt like he had been slapped in the face. Even with his status, his words were actually useless. Instead, these elders actually listened to a battle servant. It really made him lose face. The news spread, and not long after, many people walked over. There were people from the 3 paradises. Other than that, there were also people from the ancient race. Seeing this, the elders felt that it was about time and said, "Everyone, there is an ancient cave abode in front. Also, there is a very strong seal inside. We can only enter if we work together to break it. So, I hope that everyone can work together." Those who came knew that if they didn't contribute some strength, they wouldn't be able to enter. So, the paradises and families all sent some people. Then, Lin Xian and Xueqi started to give orders. Xueqi was fine, but when they saw that Lin Xian was a battle servant, and that he was ordering them around, their faces turned ugly. Not only was he an array master, he was also an alchemist. If he could refine these spiritual herbs into pills, it would be of great help to his cultivation. Furthermore, there was another matter. Xia Jiuyo's lifespan was running out. He had to think of a way to find the immortal medicine or the space-time sword, or other heaven-defying items. Only then would he be able to prolong Elder Xia's life. While he was thinking, the others couldn't wait any longer. "Hurry up and attack." These people directly attacked the frost. The frost didn't look thick, but it was even tougher than a saint artifact. He punched it, but there wasn't even a crack on it. However, these people began to attack frantically as if their lives depended on it. The eyes of the Saint Kings also flickered. He didn't immediately create a cave hand because there was still a tunnel ahead. There might be something even better inside. Lin Xian didn't stop either. He also walked inside. After walking for a while, Xueqi cried out in surprise. It was the ice phoenix fruit. She looked ahead and saw that there was a big tree sealed in the ice and snow ahead. There was a fruit on it that looked like a blue phoenix. It was the ice phoenix fruit. "Xueqi, I'll go get it for you." 9th young Master Yan smiled when he saw this. His body flickered, and he stretched out a big hand to grab the tree ahead. Boom! The ice mountain in front of them was shaking non-stop. However, it didn't shatter. Instead, 9th young Master Yan was knocked back. "Damn it!" 9th young Master Yan shouted angrily and attacked again. However, The ice mountain ahead was tougher than he had expected. He attacked several times, but he still couldn't break it. This made his expression even more unsightly. However, at this moment, an elder attacked. The Goldwind Saint King. He waved his hand, and a golden storm flew out with a powerful law. Finally, they broke through the iceberg. He waved his hand, and the Eye Phoenix fruit flew out and arrived in front of Ninth Young Master Yen. Ninth Young Master Yen stretched out his hand and caught the Ice Phoenix fruit. Then, he walked toward Xueqi. Speaking of which, Xueqi, this is for you.
Thank you.
Xueqi received the fruit and nodded. Then, she said, if I find other precious spirit herbs later, I'll exchange them with you. Or, when we get back, I'll give you an equivalent amount of dragon marrow. It was obvious that Xueqi didn't want to owe Ninth Young Master Yen a favor. Ninth Young Master Yen said, Xueqi, don't treat me like an outsider. We'll be a family sooner or later. However, Xueqi's expression was ice cold. She said to Lin Xian, let's go. After she said that, she ignored Ninth Young Master Yen. As Ninth Young Master Yen watched the two of them leave, a cold glint appeared in his eyes. Humph! You dare to ignore me? One day, I'll make you crawl at my feet. A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. It was obvious that Xueqi's attitude had angered him. More and more good things appeared in front of them. There were all kinds of strange flowers and strange fruits. The crowd was shocked. The crowd couldn't bear it anymore, and they attacked. Even Lin Xian couldn't bear it anymore. Boom! 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 All kinds of explosions echoed out, and the ice mountain shattered. Not only did spirit herbs come out of it, but the frozen demonic beasts also opened their eyes one after another. It was as if they had come alive, and they attacked quickly. Boom! A giant black lizard connected the sky and the earth. It opened its mouth and spat out black fog, which turned two half-step holy kings into blood fog. Even their souls didn't manage to escape. Ah! A miserable shriek echoed out, and the crowd's scalp went numb. A holy king attacked and cut the other party in half. On the other side, other demonic beasts appeared. A great battle broke out, and the crowd didn't just attack the demonic beasts. They even attacked the other saints. After all, they were all fighting for precious spirit herbs. However, at this moment, the sky and the earth cracked, and a holy king was sent flying while spitting out blood. The crowd was shocked, and they discovered that it was a dandelion. However, it was extremely terrifying. The dandelion seeds formed a peerless divine sword that pierced through the sky and the earth. A holy king was injured in such a way. It was too terrifying. It was the same for Lin Xian, and he stared at the fiery dragon tree. The tree was very mystical, and it looked like a real dragon. It stood there with terrifying flames on its body. The ice around it shattered. The fiery dragon tree flew into the sky and burrowed into the earth. It wanted to escape. Chapter 4455. This was good stuff. Ninth Young Master Yan's eyes turned red when he saw this from afar. He wanted to order Golden Wind Sage King to snatch the treasure, but Lin Xian was faster. With a wave of the array formation, the fiery dragon tree was sealed and stored away. Ninth Young Master Yan's eyes turned red. How could a battle servant have the right to take such a treasure? However, he did not attack immediately because there were still many spirit fruits around. It was worth it for him to attack with all his might. After all, Lin Xian could not run away. He would attack when he was safe. Buzz! 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 Lin Xian attacked and obtained more than 10 spirit herbs. He was overjoyed. Ninth Young Master Yan's eyes turned red. He had only managed to snatch 2 spirit herbs, which was not even 1/5 of what Lin Xian had. He could not bear it. On the other side, Xueqi had also gained something. At this moment, another Sage King was injured. This time, there were even more Sage Kings who were injured because they had provoked a plant. It was a vine. After breaking the ice, the leaves on it were drawn into the shape of a heavenly blade. It actually formed a powerful array formation, trapping everyone inside. Damn it! Was it really a plant? It was too scary. They did not know how long it had cultivated to know about arrays. They finally managed to escape. No one dared to provoke the vine again. At this moment, many snowmen appeared around them. These snowmen directly enveloped everyone. Lin Xian also punched out, but he found that it was useless. The snowmen melted and covered him. At the same time, they felt the world spinning. In the next moment, they realized that they had been frozen. However, they were frozen in the snow mountain and could still move. These people were frozen in different snow mountains. Lin Xian realized that Xueqi, 9th Young Master Yan, Elder Jin Feng, and a few others were here. They were all from the Thousand Mountain Cave. They heaved a sigh of relief. Great! At least there was no danger. Elder Jin Feng attacked the snow mountain a few times, but he could not get out. He frowned. What should he do? The young master could not get out for a while. 9th Young Master Yan's face was gloomy. Xueqi looked around. It would be easier for us to get rare fruits now that we are in the snow mountain. He wasn't in a hurry to go back, so he decided to take a look first. Everyone nodded and continued to walk forward. 9th Young Master Yan followed behind, his eyes sparkling. Very quickly, his lips curled into a smile. Elder Jin, don't you think this is a good opportunity? Elder Jin Feng was taken aback. Young Master, you want it? No one could leave this place for a while, and no one could enter. If something happened here, no one would be able to stop it. Xueqi will be mine sooner or later. I'm just trying to speed things up a little. I think it's nothing. Since young master has decided, I will do my best to assist young master. Since those two don't know what's good for them, why not just kill them? As for the battle servant next to Xueqi, you must capture him alive. I will make him wish he was dead. It was obvious that 9th Young Master Yan was about to make a move. He took out a mysterious incense stick. Then, he and Jin Feng swallowed the pill. In the next moment, he secretly lit the incense stick. He put it into his wide sleeves, and then walked up. Xueqi, if you want any spirit herbs, just tell me. I will ask Elder Jin Feng to get them for you. 9th Young Master Yan said. Xueqi was expressionless. There's no need. I can get them myself. Humph! You're still acting like an iceberg. Just keep pretending. Let's see if you're still an iceberg later. A cold smile appeared in 9th Young Master Yan's eyes. Lin Xian, who was next to him, furrowed his brows. Something is wrong. He stopped. Wait. What's going on? Xueqi asked. 9th Young Master Yan was taken aback. What is this lad trying to do? Lin Xian said that it seems like there's poison. Everyone held their breaths and checked. What? Poison? The people around him were stunned. Even 9th Young Master Yan's pupils shrank. Damn it! How did this lad know? He didn't know that Lin Xian had the Great Dragon Sword Soul in his body. That was why the Great Dragon Sword Soul detected the aura when it entered his body. Then, it killed the aura. That was why Lin Xian knew that the other people were checking. They didn't sense anything. However, Xueqi's expression changed. She felt that the law in her body seemed to have weakened. It's really poisonous. 9th Young Master Yan shouted angrily. Elder Jin Feng! Elder Jin Feng slapped out 2 golden storms with his hands. They instantly engulfed the 2 disciples of the Thousand Mountain Cave. Then, the bodies of the 2 turned into a bloody mist. Even in death, the 2 of them refused to believe that they were often killed by their own elders. Xueqi was startled. She said, Elder Jin Feng, what are you doing? Are you betraying the Thousand Mountain Cave? She was really shocked. Elder Jin Feng didn't say anything. 9th Young Master Yan sneered. Xueqi, don't worry. Elder Jin Feng won't attack you. He'll listen to my orders. Damn it! Are you crazy? What are you trying to do? Shuiqi stared at ninth young Master Yin. Lin Xian also furrowed his brows. He sighed. Is this lad finally going to attack? But it's fine. The people outside probably don't know what kind of battle is going on here. It's a good place for me to attack. Shuiqi, do you know? I've treated you as my own person since the first day I met you. We'll always be together. So, I want to speed things up. Today, you'll be mine. After I go back, I'll ask my grandfather to propose marriage. Don't even think about it. Ninth young Master Yen snorted coldly. Ninth young Master Yen sneered. Is that so? It's not up to you to decide. After he spoke, he walked forward. Shuiqi snorted coldly. If you come any closer, don't blame me for being rude. The law of I surged out of his body. However, in an instant, she felt dizzy and almost fainted. She couldn't even stand steadily. Damn it! What did you do? She roared crazily. Ninth young Master Yen sneered coldly. It's nothing. I just lit the incense. Damn it! You unexpectedly have such a thing. Shuiqi's expression became unsightly. It was a terrifying item that ordinary people couldn't use. But why did this lad have it? Moreover, he used it to deal with her. Shuiqi didn't dare to imagine what would happen if she couldn't detoxify it. She froze. With a loud shout, she sealed herself in ice. Attack! She shouted at Lin Xian. At the same time, Shuiqi set up a terrifying array. Lin Xian also walked forward. I didn't expect that you would be in such a hurry to throw your life away. Fine, I'll deal with you today. Lad, you dare to speak to me in such a manner? You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Don't worry, I won't kill you. I'll just make you wish you were dead. Chapter 44-56. Elder Jean, break this kid's limbs and cripple him. I'll teach him a good lesson later. As he spoke, he walked forward. His palm unleashed a terrifying power that swept out in all directions. The formation shook, but it did not break. At the same time, Lin Xian created several formations that enveloped Shuiqi. Damn it, how dare you ruin my plan! Lord Yanjiu was furious. Then he said, Elder Jean, break this formation first. Then he would kill this kid. Elder Jean walked out, wanting to attack. However, Lin Xian stopped him. Your opponent is me. Humph, how dare a mere battle servant be so arrogant in front of me? Get lost. With a furious roar, thousands of golden storms swept toward Lin Xian. Lord Yanjiu was also disdainful. After this attack, Yifutian should not be able to resist anymore. A terrifying storm exploded in front of him, and then it became extremely terrifying. However, when the storm disappeared, a figure stood there. What? He's not dead? Lord Yanjiu's eyes narrowed, and his face turned pale. Even Elder Jean Feng was stunned. How is this possible? Did he hide his strength? He was really shocked. Even a half-step Saint King could not block his attack, unless he was a true Saint King. However, Yifutian blocked it. This meant that Yifutian had either hidden his strength, which was at the level of a Saint King, or he had a Saint King weapon. However, no matter which it was beyond his expectations. Lord Yanjiu also said, Elder Jean Feng, kill him first. Lord Yanjiu was going to break the formation himself. On the other side, Lin Xian sneered. It seems that no one will know if I kill you here. In that case, I don't need to hide my strength anymore. After that, Lin Xian roared, and endless golden flames appeared on his body. He was like the sun, shining in all directions. This sudden burst of strength made Elder Jean and Elder Jin's faces change. Yanjiu was even more shocked. How is this possible? How can his body be so strong? His body is not weaker than a saint's. Elder Jean, catch him. He has secrets. I want his body refining technique. Yanjiu roared crazily. He was truly overjoyed. If he could obtain such a secret technique, he would definitely be able to obtain it. At that time, who would be his match? Elder Jean Fong was also surprised. This kid actually had such a secret. Interesting. With a wave of his hand, an endless storm appeared in a flash, forming terrifying wind blades that circled around him. Then, he slashed out with his sword and slashed forward. So what if Yi Futian's physique was strong? So what if he had the physique of a saint king? He was a true sage king. Not only was his physique strong, but he had also completely surpassed his opponent in terms of precepts, strength, soul, and divine abilities. How could the other party compare to him? On the other side, Lin Xian also let out an angry roar. He took a step forward, and the golden light on his body swept out in all directions. With a palm strike, tens of thousands of golden crows appeared. Monstrous flames danced in the air, melting the surrounding ice. This attack was extremely powerful. Both of them exploded. The golden wind blades that filled the sky were actually defeated by this one card, causing them to lose their luster. It could be destroyed at any moment. Damn it! Elder Jean Fong roared. He did not expect Yi Futian to be so strong. With a roar, those dimmed golden wind blades became stronger again, turning into a peerless blade. The blades slashed down. Boom! With this slash, Lin Xian felt that his physique was under immense pressure. It was as if it was about to split open. He kept retreating, the blood in his body churning. At the same time, Yi Futian's attack came again. The golden storm that filled the sky turned into a golden lion. It charged forward. These were all formed by precepts, and they were enough to destroy everything. Its power was so strong that even a saint king of the same level would not dare to underestimate it. Naturally, Lin Xian could also feel how terrifying this attack was. His body flickered as his speed increased to the extreme. At the same time, a terrifying demonic aura spread out from his body. Then, the spear of destruction flew out, piercing forward. The terrifying heaven and earth continued to shatter. This attack was powerful to the extreme. Boom! The Golden Wind Saint King was instantly sent flying. His arm was trembling nonstop, and his face was incomparably cold. Damn it! Yi Futian really did have a Saint King weapon. A Saint King's physique and a Saint King weapon made Yi Futian very strong. Compared to other half-step Saint Kings, he was much stronger. Elder, are you all right? Seeing this scene, ninth young Master Yan's face also became extremely ugly. He did not expect Elder Jean Feng to be unable to take down Yi Futian with his full strength. He also did not break the formation. He had already broken one formation, but there were still 3 more formations in front of him, enveloping Shui Qi. He could not break these 3 formations. He could not walk in front of Yi Futian. He would not be able to fulfill his wish. So, he also attacked with all his might, and a Saint King weapon appeared in his hand. With a single strike, he charged forward. On the other side, Elder Jean Feng said, "Don't worry, young master. Although he has a Saint King weapon, his strength and physique are not inferior to a Saint King. However, he is not a true Saint King. In terms of superpower and soul, he is no match for me. Kid, I admit that you are very strong, but so what? Today, you will definitely die." Elder Jean Feng sneered coldly. Die? His soul power rushed over in an overwhelming manner. It was obvious that he wanted to destroy Lin Xian's soul directly. Competing with soul power? Lin Xian sneered coldly. He used his heavenly secret divine eyes, and a pair of golden eyes appeared behind him. They could look down on heaven and earth, as if they were the eyes of a god. Ninth young Master Yan's soul was instantly suppressed, and he vomited blood and was sent flying. If it were not for the protection of the Saint King weapon, he would have died. Damn it, how can his soul power be so strong? Elder Jean Feng's face also became ugly. He could feel that Yi Futian's soul was not weaker than his. How is this possible? This guy is just a Saint Venerable, and he is not even a half-step Saint King. Yet he can compete with a Saint King. Who is he? Damn it! Elder Jin Feng roared, and he used his soul power to attack. He used his peerless superpower, and it was extremely powerful. Now, the only way he could defeat his opponent was with his superpower. Lin Xian used the void escape, and he kept dodging these terrifying superpower. Elder Jin Feng seemed to have found an opportunity, and he sneered. "Aren't you very strong? Why are you still dodging? If you have the ability, compete with me with superpower. As a Saint King, you can't even win against a Saint Venerable like me after fighting for so long. What right do you have to be arrogant here?" Lin Xian sneered, and then the golden light in his eyes exploded again. This time, he used the light of reincarnation. Chapter 4457. Buzz. Elder Jin Feng had wanted to use his soul to suppress Lin Fan. But when the light of the soul shot out, his face changed. He ran away quickly. However, he had used too much of his soul to suppress Lin Fan. Hence, he could not retract his soul completely. After that attack, his soul was injured, and he was sent flying while coughing up blood. Impossible! Damn it! Why do you have the light of reincarnation? Could it be that you are from the Misty Peak? He was really too shocked. Oh, you know about the light of reincarnation. Lin Xian was shocked as well. Seems like the reincarnation guardian should be from Ethereal Peak. Who are you? Elder Jin Feng roared. Ninth young Master Yan was shocked as well. Is he from Ethereal Peak? How is that possible? One must know that no matter how arrogant he was and how his status wasn't in Class 1, there was no way he could go against Ethereal Peak. But that should not be the case. If Lin Fan was from Ethereal Peak, why would he be captured by him as a battle servant? Don't believe him. He must have gotten the light of reincarnation by chance. He came from another world. He can't be from Ethereal Peak. Kill him with all your might. Elder Jin Feng came back to his senses. But he was bitter. Kill him with all his might? To be honest, he was confident before. But now, he might not be able to do it. That was because the light of reincarnation had injured his soul severely. His strength had decreased tremendously. He could not bring out his best combat strength. Coupled with Lin Fan's physique and the terrifying Sage King weapon, he was in a passive position. Indeed, Elder Jin Feng was suppressed after the battle. As for Lin Xian, he was getting stronger. His god body seemed to have an endless amount of energy. Elder Jin Feng spat out blood, and cracks appeared on his body. The spear of destruction pierced through Elder Jin Feng. The power of the great dragon sword's spirit roared. The roar of the dragon reverberated through the world. Then, Elder Jin Feng's body was about to be torn apart. How is that possible? Ninth young Master Yan was stunned. Elder Jin Feng was so severely injured that he forgot to attack. Elder Jin Feng roared crazily. To be honest, he had never dreamed that he would be defeated by a sacred master one day. Damn it! Brat, you have thoroughly enraged me. Even if I have to damage my foundation, I will kill you! He roared, and the blood in his body burned continuously. It seemed like he was going to attack regardless of the consequences. A terrifying golden shadow appeared on his body. Endless great paths intertwined as if they could destroy a world. At this moment, it was extremely terrifying. "Ha ha, kid, you're dead meat." Seeing this, ninth young Master Yan knew that Master Jin Feng Zhang was really angry. Under this attack, any Saint King of the same level would definitely die. Not to mention, it was this kid. Amidst this crisis, Lin Xian coldly snorted. A dragon-shaped sword appeared in his hand, emitting a resonant dragon cry. Then, he slashed forward. Heaven and earth were split apart in an instant. Endless cracks spread out as the sword slashed towards Elder Jin Feng. Boom! Elder Jin Feng's body was split into two halves. His eyes were wide open in disbelief. How could this be? Ah! He let out a crazy roar that shook the 9 heavens. In the distance, ninth young Master Yan was scared out of his wits. He knelt on the ground. His opponent had the strength to split a Saint King in half with a single slash. What was that? That sword shadow was too terrifying, wasn't it? Damn it, how dare you hurt me? In front of him, Elder Jean Fong roared. His body quickly healed. However, he realized that it was impossible. There was an extremely terrifying force that prevented his body from healing completely. The crack was abnormally terrifying. Who are you? I am the one who will kill you. Lin Xian held the spear of great destruction in one hand and the dragon sword shadow in the other as he walked forward. His divine body was becoming more and more terrifying. At the same time, he waved the dragon-shaped sword shadow again and charged forward. Boom! 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 The battle erupted once again. Not long after, Elder Jean Fong was split apart again. In the end, he completely turned into a bloody mist. He was terrified and wanted to escape. Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul to create a sword path world that enveloped his opponent. Damn it, how dare you stop me? Brat, sister-in-law, you can't kill me! He roared at the sky. Lin Xian frowned. Indeed, his opponent was very powerful. He could defeat a Saint King now, but it was not that easy to kill one. His opponent was too strong. But so what? I can't kill you? You are too naive. Give me time, and no matter who you are, I will destroy your soul. Great Dragon Sword Soul, explode. Lin Xian directly shattered his opponent's storage ring and let the Great Dragon Sword Soul absorb all the power in the storage ring. The sword path world that was created kept attacking. Elder Jean Feng let out a roar as he fought against the ground. Lin Xian turned his head and stared at Ninth Young Master Yen. Ninth Young Master Yen was so scared that his face turned pale. What are you trying to do? Don't come over. He kept retreating. At this point, he no longer wanted to break the formation. He did not want any wishes or restrictions. He just wanted to go back safely. Do you dare to kill me? I am your master. Life and death curse, activate. Ninth Young Master Yen roared crazily as his palms kept forming seals. So what if his opponent was strong? He was just a battle servant. He had 100 ways to make him kneel at his feet. However, he realized that Lin Xian was looking at him with a cold smile. Is the life and death curse that powerful? How is it possible that you are not affected? Are you not being controlled? Ninth Young Master Yen was completely stunned. Lin Xian threw a slap at Yan Jiu. Crack! Young Master Yan Jiu was sent flying with blood gushing out of his mouth. Countless cracks appeared on his body, and his blood stained the ground. He was in pain and fear. He wanted to escape. However, a foot stepped on his head. Don't you think it is too late to leave now? You tried to kill me time and time again. Do you think I will let you go? No, you can't kill me. My father is an elder, and my grandfather is a supreme elder. My identity is very important. You killed me. If you kill me, the Thousand Mountain Grotto will not let you go. Is that so? Since your grandfather is a supreme elder, I will be dead if I let you go. So, go to hell obediently. Don't worry. I still remember what you said to me. I won't kill you so easily either. I'll let you have a taste of what pain is like. Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret divine eyes. Immediately, Ninth Young Master Yan's soul was pulled into the lock of spring and autumn. He suffered the pain of his soul for thousands of years. Ah! An instant outside was thousands of years inside. Ninth Young Master Yan went completely crazy. He was like a demon king. It was too scary. Finally, when his soul came out, it touched a treasure in the depths of his soul. It was a rune. A terrifying aura surged out from his body. Who dares to attack my grandson? His shout shook the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Chapter 4458. That's great. Grandpa, save me! Hope appeared in Yanjiu's eyes. His grandpa was the Supreme Elder, and the Supreme Sage had left something in his body to save his life. When his life was in danger, this life-saving imprint would appear. Even Elder Jing Feng, who was standing far away, laughed. "Ha ha, kid, you're dead. I'll pay you back 10,000 times for the injuries you've inflicted on me." Lin Xian's eyes shone with a sharp light. When the voice sounded, his eyes shone with the light of reincarnation. It pierced through Yanjiu's soul. Yanjiu's soul was destroyed. He didn't believe that Lin Xian would dare to kill him. As for the rune that had been left in his soul, it had also shattered. A frenzied roar rang out. The human figure that had yet to condense also vanished into thin air. Only a roar could be heard. "Who are you? I'll find you. How is this possible?" Jing Feng, who was standing far away, was on the verge of death. The Supreme Elder's seal had given him hope. However, it was shattered in an instant. Damn it! That light was the light of reincarnation. He was in despair. In the end, his soul was destroyed by the great dragon sword soul. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He broke Yanjiu's storage ring and used the great dragon sword soul to cover everything in it. He erased all memories of Yanjiu's soul. He took some of the cultivation techniques and used his heavenly secret divine eyes to look at them. Then, he destroyed them. He didn't keep any of the elixirs or spiritual herbs. Yanjiu's grandpa was a supreme sage. It would be troublesome to keep them. However, he didn't waste them. He gave them all to the great dragon sword soul. Every time the great dragon sword soul's power increased, his strength would increase as well. Previously, he could only run when he faced a sage king. Now, he could kill a sage king. When Lin Xian felt the increase in strength, he used all his strength to strengthen the great dragon sword soul. He shot out a ball of 9 suns divine fire. It enveloped Yanjiu's body and turned him into ashes. Then, he walked forward. The formation in front of him shone brightly. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the formation cracked. Xueqi, who was inside, looked extremely pale. The situation was very wrong. As she looked at Lin Xian, a trace of fear subconsciously appeared in her eyes. What did she see? Although she had been poisoned previously, she had still seen the previous battle. The other party had actually killed the Sage King. Furthermore, that person had killed 9th young Master Yan and destroyed the talisman left behind by the Supreme Elder. Everything was too shocking. Was this really just a battle servant? Especially when he saw that Chu Feng was completely unaffected by the life and death curse, he was even more astonished. The other party wasn't a battle servant at all. The other party was a genius from another world who had been hiding beside them. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Then, he said, "Something's wrong with you. Let me help you expel the poison first." Xueqi was very scared. After all, she had seen Lin Xian's secret, and she was afraid that Lin Xian would kill her to silence her. However, she was really very weak right now. She couldn't beat him at all, so she could only close her eyes and resign herself to fate. She could feel the other party walking in front of her. The other party's physique and vitality were like a furnace of heaven and earth. The other party's great power shocked her. At the same time, she could feel a piercingly cold aura rushing into her body. It seemed to make her originally weak nomological laws become brighter. Xueqi opened her eyes and looked at this scene in surprise. Chu Feng didn't kill her. He was really helping her. But why didn't he kill her? She already knew his biggest secret. She opened her mouth and wanted to ask something, but Lin Xian told her to shut up and focus on recovering from her injuries. After he spoke, Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul. He wanted to destroy the mysterious aura in her body. However, Lin Xian was wrong this time. The great dragon sword soul could destroy everything. However, the poison in Xueqi's body wasn't fatal. It wasn't like the great sage's corpse poison. It was another kind of poison. Logically speaking, the great dragon sword soul shouldn't fear any poison, and it should be able to destroy it. However, this time, a strange fluctuation came from the depths of the snowy mountain. Shuiqi's body shivered. She could feel that her ice laws became stronger, and they flew out uncontrollably. Her aura, which she had already suppressed, erupted out once again. Lin Xian was also surprised. The great dragon sword soul was ejected, and he immediately sensed the chilly aura. His divine body shone brightly, and the 9 suns' divine fire engulfed it. At the same time, he felt his blood boiling. Damn it! What's going on? Lin Xian discovered that Shuiqi had already flown over. Then, his vision became blurry, and it seemed like he didn't know what was going on. After an unknown amount of time, Lin Xian finally woke up. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he did was to put up a defense. However, he discovered that he wasn't in any danger, as Shuiqi was next to him. However, when he saw their current situation, he was dumbfounded. What's going on? Lin Xian realized that the armor he was wearing was also gone. Did something ridiculous happen between the two of them? It can't be, right? He tried to recall, but he discovered that he couldn't remember anything. He stole a glance at Shuiqi, and when he discovered that she still hadn't woken up, he heaved a sigh of relief. However, he quickly furrowed his brows, as his heavenly divine eyes couldn't detect the poison in Shuiqi's body anymore. However, it seemed like the situation wasn't good. There were flame marks on her body, and it seemed like she had been injured by the 9 suns' divine body. Lin Xian's 9 suns' divine body was extremely tough, and it was one of the strongest bodies in the universe. Normally, Lin Xian wouldn't use the 9 suns' divine fire, so it didn't matter if Shuiqi stayed by his side. However, he didn't know what had happened before. Although he had used the 9 suns' divine fire to detoxify her, she had been severely injured. However, he was also seriously injured by the 9 suns' divine flames. From the looks of it, he was on the verge of death. Lin Xian felt quite awkward. When he was with Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu, he was very clear-headed, and he knew how to control his divine body's power. However, this time, it seemed like it had exceeded his expectations. He had to quickly save her. Lin Xian had used the law of wood to protect her life, and he had even taken out an elixir for her to consume. However, it still wasn't enough. The divine fire's destructive power was probably extremely strong. It seemed like he had to look for an ice-based super treasure in order to get rid of her injuries. Lin Xian brought Shuiqi with him as he walked forward. At the same time, he used his heavenly divine eyes. He sensed an extremely terrifying aura ahead of him, and it seemed like even his 9 suns' divine body was threatened. It seemed like it was an ice-based super treasure. Lin Xian couldn't help but speed up. Chapter 4459. In front of him was a layer of silver. The branches of the plants were like ice dragons, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. The ice here was even more terrifying. Lin Xian had no choice but to use his divine body to defend himself. He had already put Shuiqi into the Great Sage Tower. Whitey also jumped out. Her eyes widened as she said, "It's so cold here." Lin Xian also frowned. It shouldn't be like this. Even with his physique, he could feel the coldness. What level of ice was this? Suddenly, a gust of wind blew over and swept toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian dodged the gust of wind and continued walking in the direction he had come from. After walking for a while, a terrifying gust of wind would sweep toward him, as if it was leading the way for him. Finally, he arrived in front of him. There was an ice valley in front of him. It was as if a giant had torn open a crack in a mountain. Inside, there was even more terrifying cold ice. Moreover, there was a stone tablet in front of him. It was made entirely of ice and was abnormally cold. The surroundings seemed to be a cave residence. Not only did Lin Xian find the stone tablet, but he also found a table and chairs made of ice and a cave residence. Someone had once lived here. Lin Xian found that everything around him was very simple. He didn't know who lived here. However, he was sure that this person wasn't an ordinary person. Could it be the great sage who had died before? Or could it be an even more terrifying existence? Lin Xian didn't know. At this moment, a scroll on the table suddenly shone brightly. Then, it turned into a gust of ice and instantly enveloped Lin Xian. Buzz! A terrifying power erupted, and Lin Xian and Whitey were instantly sealed in ice. In the next moment, Lin Xian roared toward the sky. The power of his divine body erupted and cracked the ice. At the same time, the 9 suns' divine fire also swept out and melted the ice into snow that fell from his body. He put Whitey away, and his eyes shone with a biting cold light. Who is it? Why are you acting so sneakily? Even if you want to attack me, do you think that you can attack me just because you brought me here? He also felt that everything along the way was too strange. It seemed that someone had purposely asked him to come here. At this moment, a low chuckle was heard. It was as if a crow was roaring in the dark night. It was very strange and made people's scalps tingle. Even Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. He carefully examined it, and found that it was coming from the scroll in front of him. He snorted coldly, and raised his hand. A beam of sword chi flew out, intending to split the scroll apart. He discovered that although the scroll looked simple and unadorned, it was actually able to deflect his sword chi. At the same time, a voice was heard. As expected of the 9 yang divine body, it was extremely masculine. In other words, you are the only one who can break my ice. It was a woman's voice. Lin Xian frowned when he heard it. Who exactly are you? I'm just a soul that's about to dissipate. After waiting for so many years, the two of you are finally here. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You're the one who brought me here. Wrong, not only you, but also that woman. Did you think that I wouldn't know if you kept her away? Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He suddenly remembered what happened before. You were the one who caused trouble. That's right, kid. Don't you have to thank me? That woman can be considered a peerless fairy. You won't be at a disadvantage. Lin Xian snorted coldly and slapped out. His golden hand grabbed the scroll. However, the scroll was like a swimming dragon and instantly dodged. Kid, aren't you a little too impatient? I have a good fortune for you. Creation? What creation? Lin Xian was puzzled. He was very suspicious of the other party's motive. 9 yin and 9 yang, which was stronger? Yin and yang coexisted, and the world was called the Emperor. This was a debate that had been going on since ancient times. No one knew which of the two was stronger. As for merging the two, it was even more impossible. The simple yin-yang sex laws of yin and yang were possible, but it was too difficult to merge the 9 yin and 9 yang. I just didn't expect to meet the successor of the 9 yang when my soul was about to be destroyed. Moreover, I met someone who was very suitable for the 9 yin inheritance. The heavens really treated me well. The successor of the 9 yin. When Lin Xian heard this, he was shocked. The 9 yang divine body was the most masculine, and the 9 yin divine body was the most yin and cold. This was also one of the most terrifying physiques in the starry sky. Lin Xian didn't expect that he would be able to see the 9 yin inheritance. He took Shuiqi out of the great sage's body and said, "The 9 yang divine body is the successor of the 9 yin divine body. Are you saying that she's suitable to be the successor of the 9 yin divine body?" That's right, the soul spoke. She had cultivated the mysterious ice art since she was young, and it was an authentic ice-based inheritance. Moreover, she probably didn't know that her bloodline was also extraordinary. Her bloodline didn't come from her family, but from a gift from the heavens. Even so, it wasn't easy to get the 9 yin divine body's inheritance. In the past, 2 people had come here and received the inheritance. In the end, they couldn't bear the power, and their souls were destroyed. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He knew that it was extremely difficult to get a powerful inheritance. In the past, he had almost died before he managed to cultivate the divine body. He looked at Shuiqi and poured his power into her. Shuiqi woke up from her dream, and her face instantly became red. This was because she recalled what had happened before. She looked at Lin Xian. Her eyes were filled with sorrow. Lin Xian was also stunned and did not know what to say. After a moment of silence, he finally spoke. After a moment of silence, he calmed down and said, "Don't think about anything else. I have to tell you that your bloodline and the magical power you cultivated are suitable for the 9 divine bodies' inheritance. However, it's extremely dangerous. I'm afraid that you will die. Do you want to accept this inheritance?" Su Emo told her about it, and Xueqi was taken aback. The 9 divine bodies' inheritance? She was an ice-based saint, so how could she not have heard about it? However, she didn't expect that she would be so lucky as to get the legendary 9 divine bodies' inheritance. Xueqi nodded and said, "I'm willing to accept it. Think about it carefully. If you fail, your soul will probably be destroyed." Lin Xian reminded her. Xueqi said, "The martial path's cultivation is going against heaven's will, and I won't let it go even if there's a slim chance of survival." When Lin Xian saw that she was so insistent, he didn't say anything else. After all, even he wouldn't give up such a peerless inheritance, as it was worth taking a risk. The scroll in front of her shone brightly. Countless symbols flickered, and they turned into many characters that flickered in the sky. This was the 9 divine bodies' inheritance. Xueqi's expression became grave, and she suppressed everything that had happened before in her heart. She took a deep breath and started accepting the inheritance with her full power. In an instant, the symbols rushed into her mind. In the next moment, her body swayed, and boundless black ice condensed on her body. She let out a roar. It was too cold. It was 1,000 times, or even 10,000 times colder than the black ice art that she cultivated. Chapter 4460. Xueqi used the profound ice arts to resist it. At the same time, the bloodline hidden in her body erupted. Even so, it was still very painful. Lin Xian was naturally able to sense how terrifying the black frost was. He unleashed the 9 suns' divine fire to resist it. At the same time, he pushed it far away, his eyes flickering. On the other side, a soul floated out. Its soul light was already very dim. It was obvious that it would soon disappear. She looked ahead and sighed as well. Was it a little too much? Could it be that the 9 inheritance couldn't be continued? Lin Xian asked. "Senior, you chanted a chant before, 9 yin and 9 yang. Which one is stronger, and which one is weaker? When yin and yang coexist, one will become the emperor of the world. Was there really someone who could fuse the 9 yin and 9 yang?" The soul sighed. "I don't know. That was just a chant passed down from ancient times. I don't know whether there really was someone who managed to fuse the two. However, I can tell you something. When the 9 yang divine body reached great mastery, it would be comparable to a great emperor. It was the same for the 9 yin body. In the ancient times, someone obtained 2 inheritances and wanted to fuse them together. However, he went crazy. In the ancient times, someone obtained 2 inheritances. This time, he didn't cultivate them. Instead, he comprehended them from the 2 inheritances. He managed to cultivate the Tao of Yin and Yang, and became a Yin-Yang great emperor. In the endless years, several great emperors appeared. They were the 9 yang divine body and the 9 yin body. However, it was too difficult to fuse the two together. However, if one managed to fuse them together, one's physique would become extremely powerful. My guess is that it wouldn't be weaker than the Crown Prince's physique. Is the Crown Prince really that powerful? Lin Xian was surprised. Of course, that's because you haven't heard of how powerful the great emperors are. The descendants of the great emperors have the same bloodline as the great emperors. Moreover, they are the first generation. When those people grow up, they will become extremely heaven-defying. Of course, none of them will be able to become a great emperor again. This was because the bloodline in their bodies was their greatest help, but it was also their greatest restriction. Even so, they were still supreme existences that could sweep through the universe. Although the 9-yang divine body was powerful, it could only be ranked 11th in the myriad heavens rankings. The 9-yang divine body was only ranked 11th. Lin Xian was completely stunned. That soul had said that it was right, because the top 10 all had the physique of an imperial prince. What about the 9-yin body? Lin Xian asked. According to the soul, the 9-yin body was ranked 12th. However, she coldly snorted. This was only because there were less descendants of the 9-yin body than the 9-yang divine body. Otherwise, how could the 9-yang divine body be ranked below the 9-yang divine body? Upon hearing this, Lin Xian smiled awkwardly. It seemed that the battle between the two godly bodies had been quite fierce. Lin Xian already knew that there were clans of the ancients and monarch clans. He had even seen many extreme weapons. However, he had never seen the real Emperor's son before. However, thinking about it, there must be some on the buried Emperor star. He was really looking forward to having a battle with such a person. The soul looked at Lin Xian and said, "Brat, don't think that you can be arrogant just because the 9-yang divine body is ranked 11th. That was referring to the 9-yang divine body that had reached large success. There were many descendants of godly bodies that were killed before they could fully mature. Therefore, you should try to keep a low profile in the future." "I know." Lin Xian nodded. At this moment, Xueqi suddenly roared. Immediately after, she spat out a mouthful of blood and her body was covered in black frost. Her body fell backwards. Seeing this scene, the soul cried out in alarm. "Not good, am I going to fail?" Lin Xian took a step forward and caught the falling body. He felt an extremely terrifying ice-cold energy coming from his hands, as if it wanted to completely freeze him. What should he do? Lin Xian looked at the soul. There's no other way, it seems that it's too difficult. However, she was still persevering, unwilling to give up. If she died like this, it was only a matter of time. Lin Xian sighed. Is there no other way? The soul suddenly sneered coldly. There's a way, but I'll give you another opportunity. As he spoke, he waved his hand and shot out a dense fog that engulfed Lin Xian. Lin Xian felt dizzy, and his divine awareness became fuzzy again. Damn it! Is this old thing using this kind of technique on me again? Lin Xian could already guess what was going to happen next. However, he was already unable to resist anymore. Xueqi felt that she was extremely cold, as if she was going to be frozen by 10,000 years old ice. As a genius of the ice element, she was never afraid of ice. However, this time, she was really afraid. It seemed as if the ice wanted to seal her soul in ice. Suddenly, she felt a warm feeling coming from behind her. It was as if a sun had fallen into a snowy mountain. It allowed her to find hope. She grabbed the sun and didn't let it go. Looking at the scene before her, Soul smiled. She rushed out of the cave and said, I wonder if my method will work. However, this was her last chance. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. The people who had entered Mount Han also quickly retreated. A month had already passed. In the land of Mount Han, a storm had begun to blow, freezing everything. The Saint Kings couldn't stay any longer. They could only retreat. This time, every grotto heaven and clan had suffered losses. Of course, there were also gains. Many people had obtained spirit fruits and all kinds of opportunities. Their strength had increased greatly. As for their companions, many of them had also perished in there. The people of Xiling Grotto Heaven gathered outside. Their faces turned ugly. This time, young Master Ling Tian was seriously injured and poisoned. It seemed that he was in imminent danger. After they came out, they immediately left. They had to ask the Supreme Elder for help. Fu Hongye followed them expressionlessly. However, he was relieved because he was no longer under the control of the life and death curse. He went back to get more resources. On the other side, Yin Su and the others came out of Green Hill Paradise. Meng Hao and the others also came out of vast paradise with smiles on their faces. They had also gained some gains. It seemed that they would have to go into seclusion for a while. The others did the same. On the other hand, the people of Thousand Mountain Paradise were frowning. They had been happy for a while when young Master Ling Tian was injured. Now, they could finally give Violet Spirit Paradise a blow. However, they soon realized that something was wrong. Yan Jiao and Shuiqi hadn't come out yet. Not only that, but Elder Jin Feng also hadn't come out. He was a Saint King. What was going on? Could it be that something dangerous had happened? They were extremely anxious. The identities of these two people were not ordinary. Let's wait patiently. Perhaps something has delayed them, the Heavenly Strategy Elder said in a deep voice. The people of Thousand Mountain Paradise waited here. Chapter 4461. At the same time, in the endless mountains of Thousand Mountain Grotto, there was a floating palace. This was the core area of Thousand Mountain Grotto. Ordinary people could not come here, because this was the place where the Supreme Elder was in charge. At this moment, the Supreme Elder in the palace suddenly opened his eyes and let out a crazy roar. Above the 9 heavens, thousands of miles of space collapsed, and the stars in the sky dimmed. The entire Thousand Mountain Cave was shaking violently. What happened? Everyone in Thousand Mountain Grotto was stunned. The elders all flew into the sky and looked into the distance. It was the Sagely Heaven's old ancestor who was angry. Tseng Tianya, who provoked this living fossil. The Sagely Heaven's old ancestor was one of the Supreme Elders. He was so strong that he had reached the Great Sage Realm. Such a person was extremely terrifying. Normally, no one would dare to provoke him. Even the mansion master of Thousand Mountain Grotto would not dare to be presumptuous in front of him. Now that he was angry, it was really surprising. At this moment, countless streams of light streaked across the sky. The leader was a middle-aged man. He asked nervously, "Father, what happened? Is there a problem with your cultivation?" This person was the Sagely Heaven's old ancestor's son, Yan Jiuzi's father. His name was Elder Yan Mo. An old voice came from the palace, filled with endless anger. Jiuer's soul jade tablet was broken. He has fallen. Investigate this matter for me. I don't care who did it. I want to destroy his soul and spirit. I will not let go of anyone related to him. What? Hearing this, Elder Yan Mo was instantly stunned. His son had been killed? How could this be? His eyes instantly turned red. The surrounding people also knelt on the ground. Old ancestor, please calm down. We will go investigate now. Follow me. With a roar, Yan Mo rushed out with his men. In the next moment, everyone in Thousand Mountain Grotto knew about it. Furthermore, the people of Thousand Mountain Grotto gathered into countless groups and charged towards Mount Han. In Mount Han. At this moment, the 2 Grotto heavens and the ancient race had all left. The only ones left were the people of Thousand Mountain Grotto. At this moment, these people were extremely anxious. Several days had already passed, and the power of Mount Han had become incomparably cold. Those people should have come out long ago. Why was Yanjiao and Shuiqi still nowhere to be seen? Could it be that they had all died? That's impossible. The Heavenly Strategy Elder shook his head. Both of them had Saint King weapons. Even if they couldn't defeat a Saint King, they could at least protect themselves. It was impossible for him to have died in there. The others were also puzzled. At this moment, they suddenly looked up at the sky. Countless figures appeared in the sky. They were like gods and demons. Their powerful auras caused the snow mountain below to crumble. What a terrifying team of saints! Is someone going to attack this place? The people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven went crazy. They felt as if they were facing a great enemy. A moment later they sensed that these people were from the Thousand Mountain Grotto, which caused them to be even more confused. What's going on? Why are there so many people? Tianzi and the others took the lead and flew up. They discovered that the one leading the team was the Yanmo. He hurriedly cupped his fists and asked, "What happened? You still have the face to ask me?" Elder Yanmo roared out in rage. The aura on his body was incomparably terrifying as he dashed forward. The Heavenly Strategy Elder's pupils constricted. He shot out a ray of light to block the attack. In the next moment, he was forced back. The people around him also vomited blood. "What's going on? Is this guy crazy?" The Heavenly Strategy Elder was also furious. "Yanmo, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because your father is the Supreme Elder. I'm also an Elder of the Thousand Mountain Grotto. What right do you have to attack me?" The other Saint Kings were also puzzled. "That's right, Elder Yanmo. Is there a misunderstanding? We've never offended you." Yanmo's eyes were red. "You've never offended me? My son, Yanjiu, is already dead in there. How did you protect him? If you can't find the enemy, you'll all die." "What?" The Earth Saint King and the others were stunned. The Heavenly Strategy's Elder's eyes also narrowed. Cold sweat immediately flowed down his face. Although he was furious earlier, if Yanjiu was really dead, the situation was not good. Yanmo was not the only one who was furious. The Holy Heaven's old ancestor was furious too. He was a supreme saint. How were they going to explain themselves when they returned? It was impossible. Yanjiu had a Saint King weapon and a rune mark left behind by the Holy Heaven's old ancestor. Even if he met a powerful enemy, he should be able to survive. The other Saint Kings were also puzzled. Who was so powerful that they dared to kill Yanjiu? The Heavenly Strategy Elder also walked up and said, "Yanmo, we don't know what's going on either. When we were inside, we suddenly realized that the land of Mount Han had become terrifying. It was as if it was going to freeze everything again, so we retreated. When we came out, we realized that Yanjiu and Princess Xueqi were not there, so we waited here. We thought that the two of them were delayed by something. We did not expect Yanjiu to be dead." The people around them were also stunned. Princess Xueqi was not there either? Oh my heavens! If Yanjiu had died in there, the other old ancestor would be furious too. When that happened, how would the Thousand Mountain Grottos shake? They did not dare to imagine. Yanmo said, "I don't care what excuses you have. Wait for your punishment when you return." "Now, everyone, follow me into Mount Han," he roared, and the group of saints behind him flew into the air. They formed a terrifying formation and charged into the land of Mount Han. At the same time, a group stayed behind to watch over the Heavenly Strategy Elder and the others. "What should we do?" the Earth Saint King asked. The Heavenly Strategy Elder's face turned ugly. What could he do? He could only wait. He had to admit that the group led by Yanmo this time was too powerful. Even though Mount Han had become so terrifying, they still charged into the land of Mount Han. However, at this moment, the land of Mount Han was already covered in snow. It was impossible to search. Moreover, they did not know where Yanjiu had died. They could only search aimlessly. Just like that, another 5 days passed. Yanmo and the others still had not returned. Outside, the Heavenly Strategy Elder and the others' faces turned even uglier. During these days, they carefully recalled the whole incident and realized that their situation was very bad. Yanjiu had died. As the elders who led the group, it would be difficult for them to escape. The group that was guarding them was led by an elder. They said, "Tianzi, you are really wrong this time. Don't you know Yanjiu and Xueqi's identities? You did not follow them. Let's see how you are going to explain yourself when you return. This time, Yanjiu has died. I guess you will be punished severely. Moreover, Princess Xueqi has not returned. If she has died, you will die." The Heavenly Strategy Elder's face was extremely gloomy. The Great Emperor, Holy King, and the others also had ugly expressions. Chapter 4462. As night fell, the wind and snow continued to fall. The power of Mount Han was extremely terrifying. Even the moon could not be seen in the sky. It was extremely dark all around. At this moment, Elder Tianzi seemed to have made a decision. He roared and suddenly attacked. He attacked the elder of the team and sent him flying. Then he roared, "Why are you still not attacking? Are you waiting to die?" The Earth Saint King and the others were stunned at first. Then they said, "Let's attack. We will die if we go back." Now was the best time to escape. When the 1,000-mountain cave came, there were 7 Saint Kings. Other than Elder Jin Feng, who had died, there were 6 left. At this moment, the 6 of them attacked together, and were extremely powerful. "Damn it, how dare you attack? Do you want to betray the 1,000-mountain cave?" The elder of the team roared crazily. Elder Tianzi and the others said, "Sorry, we don't want to die. We don't want to go back and suffer. Let us go and we won't kill you." After that, their attacks became even more terrifying. A long sword appeared in Elder Tianzi's hand. It was tens of thousands of miles long. With a slash of the sword, the mountains and rivers were all shattered. The Earth Saint King roared angrily. Thousands of miles of land collapsed, forming countless rock giants. They charged out crazily. The 6 of them attacked crazily. They did not hold back at all. However, in the end, 2 of them were caught. Elder Tianzi, the Earth Saint King, and the other 3 escaped. "Damn it!" the leading elder shouted angrily. At the same time, he took out the array and sent a voice transmission. In Mount Han, Yen Mo got the news of the array and was instantly furious. "How dare they escape? Men, catch them!" He sent out 2 more teams to kill their way out of Mount Han to pursue the Heavenly Strategies elder and the others. As for him, he continued to lead people to search for them in Mount Han. In the Great Snow Mountain. In an ancient cave residence, Lin Xian opened his eyes. In the next moment, when he saw the scene in front of him, he was stunned. At this moment, Xueqi also opened her eyes. She seemed to have had a very long dream. In the dream, she was surrounded by the sun and ice. However, when she opened her eyes and saw the scene in front of her, she was also stunned. In the next moment, she was stunned and her face instantly turned red. Lin Xian stood up and said, "I'll go out first." After saying that, he walked out of the cave and let out a long breath. "What do you think? Did he succeed?" At this moment, a weak voice sounded. Lin Xian turned his head and saw that it was the soul. He wanted to get angry, but he found that the soul had become extremely weak. It looked like it would dissipate at any moment. He sighed. He should have succeeded, right? Let her come out and let me take a look. My soul is incomparably excited. Her greatest wish was for the succession of the 9 Yin tribe to be passed down. After a short while, Xueqi came out. Her face was still flushed. When she saw the soul, she was also stunned. The soul asked, "Did he really obtain the inheritance?" Xueqi nodded and thanked him. "Good, the heavens have not forsaken me. I must continue to bring the 9 Yin inheritance to greater heights." That soul grew darker and darker until it finally dissipated. Xueqi knelt down and kowtowed 3 times respectfully. "Senior, please don't worry. I won't let down the 9 Yin tribe's inheritance." Lin Xian also bowed deeply. Because of what the soul had done, the information about the 9 Yin tribe's inheritance had appeared in his mind. This meant that as long as he wanted to, he could also cultivate the 9 Yin tribe's inheritance. Of course, it was too dangerous to fuse the 9 Yin tribe's inheritance with the 9 Yang tribe's inheritance. "You!" Xueqi stood up and looked at Lin Xian. She didn't know what to say. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, "I don't know how much time has passed, but I think we should quickly leave." "Are you going to leave?" Xueqi asked. Her eyes were filled with disappointment. This guy has already done such a thing. Shouldn't he say something? Lin Xian said. "I don't plan to leave for the time being. I want to continue staying in the 1,000-mountain paradise." Xueqi raised her head and hope appeared in her eyes. However, she quickly asked, "Aren't you afraid that I will reveal your secret? I've seen what you've done before." "I don't think you will." Lin Xian revealed a smile. Xueqi's face became even redder. She really wouldn't reveal it, as she was now his woman. However, this damned fellow, why didn't he mention this matter at all? "Let's go." Lin Xian waved his hand and said, "Let's go." Xueqi nodded and revealed a gentle look. If other people were here, they would surely be startled. "Is this still the same Ice Mountain Fairy?" The two of them left the snowy mountain. Xueqi had already comprehended the 9 tribe's inheritance, and she shot out a black frost, which caused a crack to appear on the snowy mountain. The two of them then left. After they left, Lin Xian furrowed his brows. He discovered that the whole Mount Han had become even more terrifying than before. He must quickly leave. He guessed that this was related to Xueqi obtaining the 9 tribe's inheritance. The whole Mount Han would probably be sealed in ice. After they walked for 2 days, they suddenly discovered some people in front of them. The two of them became alert, but Xueqi was taken aback. She said that it was the Paradise's people. She took out her badge and released the 1,000 Mountain Phantom. The people in front of them exclaimed in surprise, "That's our 1,000 Mountain Paradise's badge!" A group of people instantly flew over. They were led by 3 Saint Kings. When they saw Xueqi and Lin Xian, they heaved a sigh of relief. "Princess Xueqi, it's great that nothing happened to you." Xueqi regained her ice-cold appearance. She nodded and asked, "What happened? Why did you all come here?" "The Saint Kings that came here before didn't have such people." Lin Xian didn't say anything. After all, he didn't want to reveal his identity yet. The 3 Saint Kings said, "Don't you know? 9th young Master Yin died, and the holy heaven's old ancestors showed his might. Elder Yen Mo brought countless teams of saints to search for him." Upon hearing this, Xueqi's pupils contracted. Did they already know? Could it be that the matter was about to be discovered? However, at this moment, Lin Xian shook his head and told her to calm down. When he attacked, only Xueqi knew about it. No one else knew about it. As for the Great Saint's seal, it was destroyed by him before it could even appear. The other party surely didn't know about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been searching for him so aimlessly. Yan Jiao was unexpectedly killed. Who killed him? Xueqi also calmed down. She said, "I also don't know. I was also trapped for the past few days, and it took me great effort to come out. Let's go." Yes. The 3 Saint Kings led their teams and protected Xueqi. They quickly brought Xueqi and Lin Xian and left. When they came out, they heaved a sigh of relief. They discovered that there were still 2 teams here. "Where are the others? Did they all go back?" Xueqi asked. "The Heavenly Strategy's elder and his companions have already escaped. They even injured our 1,000 Mountain Paradise's members. We have already sent people to hunt them down." "How did this happen?" Xueqi was taken aback, but she quickly understood. Since Yin Jiao had died, the elders who led the teams would surely be punished severely. The Heavenly Strategy's elder and his companions wanted to live, so they seized the opportunity to escape. Chapter 4463. After this, Xueqi and Lin Xian rested here. During this time, Xueqi transmitted her voice to him. "Do you really not want to leave? If you leave now, I will create an opportunity for you. You should quickly leave." Xueqi was quite worried. After all, his grandfather was a great sage. Lin Xian shook his head and transmitted his voice to her. "I won't leave for now. This is because I still have many things to do. I still have to kill people." Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Xueqi fell silent. Since he had been suppressed and turned into a battle servant, his friends must have suffered the same fate. Thinking about it, Lin Xian would definitely make a move on the Grotto Heaven. If it had been in the past, she would have immediately suppressed or killed such a person. However, Xueqi wouldn't attack him now. After all, she was already his subordinate. She was quite conflicted, and she didn't know what she should do. After waiting for 2 days, Xueqi said, "Elder Yan still hasn't come back. I want to go back first. I am quite tired, and we have already escorted you back." After a short while, 2 teams escorted the 2 of them back to the Thousand Mountain Paradise. On the way back, they ran into some other teams, which were sent by Black Ice Ancestor. Black Ice Ancestor was Xueqi's grandfather, and he was also a supreme elder. After he learned about Yanjiu, he was worried that Xueqi would be in danger. This was why he sent people to receive her. When they saw that Xueqi was fine, they heaved a sigh of relief. After this, the 2 of them returned to the Thousand Mountain Paradise, and started their secluded cultivation. Xueqi's harvest this time was the greatest. She had obtained the 9-yin inheritance, which was a peerless inheritance. As long as she didn't die, she would surely become one of the few peerless experts in the starry sky. Lin Xian had also obtained great harvests. In the snowy mountain, he had obtained several hundred spirit herbs. At the same time, his great dragon sword soul's might had increased. More importantly, he had also obtained the 9-yin inheritance. Therefore, while he was in seclusion, Lin Xian had been exploring and researching whether he should cultivate the 9-yin legacy. He had discovered that the 9-yin inheritance and the 9-yang divine body were 2 completely different types of cultivation. The 9-yang divine body required boundless flames, while the 9-yin inheritance required boundless ice. Lin Xian had also cultivated the law of death and the law of sun, 2 completely opposite laws. However, 2 types of divine bodies were much more terrifying than 2 types of laws. The slightest carelessness might cause one to go berserk. He shook his head and decided not to cultivate for the time being. After all, the 9-yang divine body was a terrifying physique to begin with. As long as it was cultivated to the great perfection stage, it would be comparable to a great emperor. Lin Xian was still doing his best to improve his 9-yang divine body. On the other side, Xueqi had completely consolidated her 9-yin body. The following cultivation would be more complicated and tedious. It was not something that could be completed overnight, so she did not need to be anxious. On one hand, she sent people to search for countless precious pieces of ice. At the same time, she also walked out of the palace and looked at the pagoda in the distance with sparkling eyes. What was this guy doing? Naturally, she was thinking about Lin Xian. Xueqi felt like she was in a dream, and her soul wasn't clear. However, she also knew that the sun she felt in her dream back then was probably Lin Xian. Therefore, she could guess what happened next. She had been unable to complete the 9-yin inheritance, but Lin Xian had helped her. Moreover, it was Lin Xian who had helped her detoxify the poison that she had been poisoned with. As the granddaughter of a supreme elder and a top genius of the paradise, Xueqi had always wondered what her husband would be like. He would definitely be a peerless expert, a supreme existence that could sweep away everything. She had not even seen any of the paradise's geniuses. In her opinion, only the Misty Peaks geniuses were worthy of her. However, Lin Xian's appearance changed her mind. As soon as Lin Xian appeared, he displayed a powerful array formation. Although his identity was that of a battle servant, his attainments in formations were something that even she was greatly astonished by. Later on, in order to help her stop the Sage King, Lin Xian had taken the initiative to stay behind, risking his life so that she could escape. Xueqi was very touched. In the end, he had helped her detoxify the poison and obtain the 9-yin body. He had completely won her heart. In this life, she had already decided that Lin Xian was her husband. She would never think of a second person. However, she sighed. She also knew that with her status, her father and grandfather would definitely not agree to tell anyone about this matter. Furthermore, Lin Xian would probably attack the grotto heaven as well. Given the other party's talent, as long as he was given time, he would be able to mature very quickly. Once he grew, would he start a war with her? She had no idea. On the other side, Elder Yanmo had also returned. Because the land of Mount Han had been completely frozen, they had not found the place where Yanjiao had died. In fact, they did not even get any news. Especially when Yanmo learned that Xueqi had returned safely, his expression became even uglier. Was his son the only one who had died in there? How hateful! In the end, he met two people. He found them very suspicious, but he did not dare to say anything. Because these two people were from the Misty Peak. The two geniuses of the Misty Peak left directly, and no one dared to stop them. As for Yanmo, he returned to the Thousand Mountain Paradise with his people. The Holy Heaven's old ancestor came forward to inquire, but he did not find anything. The Holy Heaven's old ancestor was furious. He personally went to Mount Han and killed his way in. In the end, he returned 3 days later. His expression became even colder. The people around him did not dare to say anything. The Holy Heaven's old ancestor had returned without finding anything. Mount Han was much more terrifying than they had imagined. Xueqi naturally knew that the Holy Heaven's old ancestor was powerful, but Mount Han had the 9 yin inheritance. Although she had obtained the inheritance, the aura that had been left behind was not something that a great saint could resist once it was released. Most likely, no one would be able to enter that place. As expected, the Holy Heaven's old ancestor's expression was ugly. Yanmo walked in. "Temperature, father, what should we do? We have no clue at all." The Holy Heaven's old ancestor's expression was gloomy. When Jiao used the soul imprint that I gave him, it was instantly penetrated. I sensed a trace of the light of reincarnation. What? The light of reincarnation? Yanmo was stunned, and his expression became one of horror. Their heavenly grotto heaven did not deserve the light of reincarnation. Only the Misty Peak had it. Could it be that the Misty Peak's people had done it? Damn it, in the end, we met two people from the Misty Peak, but we did not dare to make a move. If we had known, we would have taken them down. Nonsense, don't you know what kind of existence the Misty Peak is? Don't act rashly? Let your younger brother go and check it out. He should be able to find out something from the Misty Peak. At least, he should be able to find out the identities of the two people who had gone to Mount Han. Chapter 4464. The ethereal peak was above their grotto heavens. However, many of their grotto heavens were also in the ethereal peak. For example, there were a few from the Holy Heaven's old ancestors' line in the ethereal peak. In fact, it wasn't just him. There were also people from Xueqi's line in the ethereal peak. It was the same for the other grotto heavens. It could be said that the relationship between the grotto heavens and the ethereal peak was very close. There were also people from the Holy King Xingchen's line in the ethereal peak. This was probably something that even Lin Xian didn't know. The ethereal peak. It was surrounded by mountains and empty valleys. The mountains were very steep. There was a mountain at the top of the clouds with a mysterious aura. This was the ethereal peak, a terrifying existence that was above the grotto heavens. In fact, in the hearts of countless grotto heavens, this was the true cultivation paradise. However, the ethereal peak was very strict in recruiting disciples. Most of the grotto heavens were peerless geniuses who entered through the assessment, or recommendation. Only a few geniuses from the outside world entered directly. In the night sky, two figures flew past in an instant. They flew directly towards the ethereal peak. These two figures were riding on a huge gourd. They were as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, they shuttled through the void and arrived in front of the ethereal peak. There were clouds in front of them, and an array formation appeared. At the same time, there was a loud shout. "Who are you? How dare you trespass on the ethereal peak?" The voice carried the aura of a holy king. The two figures stopped. "It's us." The man took out the ethereal peak's spirit tablet and waved it forward. A ray of light streaked across the token and surged into the array formation. Not long after, the array formation split open and people walked out from inside. It was young Master Xingqian and Princess Yuehua. Please. Xingqian nodded and the two of them flew in. Young Master Xingqian, how was your trip to Mount Han? A holy king smiled. After hearing this, Xingqian also said that it was not bad. To be honest, this trip was not in vain. The corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. After the two of them flew far away, Yuehua asked, Senior brother, why are you so happy? We didn't seem to have obtained anything special. In my opinion, this Mount Han is just SOSO. It's not as good as the legends say. Stardust's eyes flickered. He was tall and handsome, and his eyes were like the brightest stars in the night sky. He asked, What do you think of Xueqi? Are you talking about that ice mountain fairy? I've heard of her. It was said that she was an ice elemental saint and had great attainments in formations. Although she was still a disciple of the Grotto Heaven and had yet to join the ethereal peak, she was still a disciple of the Grotto Heaven. However, she was already a half-step Saint King, and with the strength of the Xianbing clan, it was only a matter of time before she joined Misty Peak. Senior brother, are you interested in him? That's right. Stardust's eyes flashed with a bright light. When he returned, he would immediately ask the old ancestor to help him propose a marriage. Yuehua was stunned. Do you want to propose marriage to Xueqi? To be honest, although she is not bad, there are too many people in our ethereal peak who are more outstanding than her. Junior sister, you don't know, but I like this kind of iceberg. Stardust laughed. Alright, you can go back first. I'll go and see the ancestor. Then, he turned into a beam of light and disappeared. Yuehua shook her head slightly. It seemed that another sparrow was about to become a phoenix. Presbytery Pavilion. It was very quiet, and there were countless paths around. This was where the old ancestor of the Presbytery Pavilion was. No one dared to be presumptuous here. At that moment, a figure was flying through the sky. It was Yenmo. After Yenmo entered the hall, he said, Father, I've found them. Those two people were disciples of Misty Peak. The man was called Xingqian, and the woman was called Yuehua. They were the geniuses of the Star Clan and the Moon Clan. In front of them, the old ancestor of the Presbytery Pavilion opened his eyes. A terrifying chi bloomed in his eyes. Then, did the two of them fight? Yenmo took in a deep breath. That didn't seem too possible. Even though the both of them were geniuses in Ethereal Peak, they were nothing compared to Lin Fan. However, they didn't seem to be able to control the light of reincarnation. Who was it? The old ancestor's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Did anyone from Misty Peak go in? He didn't know. He was still investigating. Go find out who killed Jioer. Even if it was someone from Misty Peak, he had to give me an explanation. Next, there was an undercurrent. However, Lin Xian didn't care about any of this. He was in seclusion, cultivating with all his might. In front of him, the great void divine furnace was surrounded by flames. It was like a fire dragon, flickering continuously. 9 Sun Divine Flame. Lin Xian had obtained many precious spiritual herbs in the Great Snow Mountain. He was refining them now. When this furnace of pills was completed, he could try to break through and reach late-stage Holy Venerate. At that time, his strength would become even more terrifying. Finally, half a month later, a furnace of pills was completed. Looking at the pills, Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. Every pill was crystal clear, and there were great dows flickering on them. Lin Xian waved his hand and started consuming the pills. Boom! Not long after, lightning filled the sky. It was like the end of the world. It attracted the attention of the Thousand Mountain Cave again. Could it be that Xueqi is going to break through again? Countless people became nervous. Xueqi's father also arrived, and his eyes flickered. However, they did not know that this was Lin Xian breaking through. Lightning tribulations filled the sky, and no one dared to approach this place. This time, the lightning tribulation lasted for a very long time. Lightning flashed and thunder roared in the sky. Countless martial emperors were hacked apart. This scene was horrifying, as if 10,000 dragons were roaring together. A figure covered in flames appeared in the sea of lightning. Countless lightning bolts flickered on his body. Some of them were even as big as a mountain. This was Lin Xian. He brought out his powerful divine body. Countless swords she turned into divine chains and fought with the lightning in the sky. Finally, Shao Chun blocked the lightning tribulation. Then, he sat down cross-legged on the charred ground and started the final tempering. His aura suddenly erupted, and he reached late-stage Holy Venerate. His strength had undergone an earth-shaking change compared to before. This is great. Lin Xian's lips curled up in a smile. The people outside were also looking forward to it. Is it over? I wonder if Princess Xueqi successfully broke through and became a sage king. They all wanted to go there. At this moment, the lightning that had disappeared gathered again. Then, an even more terrifying power descended. Even Lin Xian abruptly opened his eyes. He looked at the large hall before him and revealed a look of surprise. A Sage King tribulation. Is she going to break through? Lin Xian cried out in surprise. The palace in front of him was where Xueqi was. It seemed like Xueqi was really going to break through to the Sage King realm. Xueqi's father and the other Sage Kings outside wanted to come in and check the situation. However, when they sensed the Sage King tribulation, they were all surprised. Is she going to break through now? Chapter 4465. Retreat quickly. These people retreated one after another. Even those who were in the mansion quickly retreated. Lin Xian's body flickered, and he arrived in the distant void. His eyes flickered as he observed the situation. A bolt of lightning descended in front of him, and it penetrated the heavens and the earth. The palace beneath it was torn apart, and it was turned into ashes. A person was sitting cross-legged in the void, and there was black ice revolving around her body. Soon after, Xueqi opened her eyes, and her black hair fluttered in the wind. The black ice around her body swept out in all directions. The lightning that approached her was instantly sealed by ice. Boom! 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 Xueqi used her 9-yin body, and ice filled the sky as she fought against the terrifying Saint Tribulation. This battle shook the heavens and the earth, and in the end, Xueqi successfully crossed the Saint Tribulation. She looked up at the sky and let out a long cry, and the clouds in the 9 heavens and 10 lands collapsed. The aura of a Saint King emanated from her body. Boom! It's great! She successfully made a breakthrough. A smile appeared at the corners of Xueqi's mouth. Her injuries, which were caused by the lightning tribulation, quickly healed. Cheer, how are you? After the lightning disappeared, a voice transmitted from afar. At the same time, countless auras in the sky started spreading toward them, and there was even an aura of a great saint among them. It was the Supreme Elder. Many people cried out in alarm. Greetings, Elder Black Ice! They looked at the blue-robed old man and bowed to him. The blue-robed old man's robe fluttered even though there was no wind, and his eyes were like blue lightning that could see through everything. He stared at Xueqi, then clapped his hands and laughed heartily. She made a breakthrough. Great! 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 He was overjoyed, as his granddaughter had finally taken a crucial step. Is this true? She actually made a breakthrough. It's great! Xueqi's father was also overjoyed, and he clenched his fists. The others also congratulated Black Ice Ancestor one after another. Black Ice Ancestor, congratulations! Princess Xueqi's talent was too great. She was the first person among the younger generation to become a Saint King. Her future achievements were limitless, and she would surely become a great saint. Many praises could be heard, and Black Ice Ancestor laughed heartily. Xueqi's breakthrough was a great matter for the Thousand Mountain Paradise, and they invited everyone to a banquet. Soon, these people began to move. On the other side, Yanemo walked over and gnashed his teeth. "Father, Xueqi has already broken through to the Saint King realm." "Damn it!" The others were all very happy, but their expressions were incomparably ugly. Because his son, Yanjiu, had already fallen. In all honesty, he hoped that Xueqi would die. However, things didn't go as he wished. Not only did Xueqi not die, but she had also become even more powerful. She had even broken through to become a Saint King. Moreover, he wants to invite the world to a banquet. I think he wants to show off to the world. The more she spoke, the angrier she became. Said the ancestor of the holy heavens? She had just become a Saint King, so she didn't pose any threat to him. As long as the black ice old monster does not break through, we will still be evenly matched. Yanemo nodded. He naturally knew. The younger generation represented the hope of the future. However, more importantly, although they were both from the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven, the forces they represented were different. The Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven had a total of 3 great sages. One of them fell into a deep slumber. The only ones who were active were his father, the Holy Heaven Grand Sage, and the Black Ice Grand Sage. The two of them represented 2 different forces, so they were naturally competing with each other. Previously, Yanjiu had pursued Xueqi. If he had succeeded, then they might have been able to work together. However, there was no such possibility now. Xueqi received countless congratulatory messages, but she ignored them all with an indifferent expression. Many of the younger generation's geniuses had come. Many of them were handsome, and some of them were carefree. However, Xueqi didn't care about them at all. She looked around, as if she was looking for someone. When she saw Lin Xian walk out of the clouds, a smile appeared on her face. Her smile was so beautiful that it could cause the downfall of a nation. Everyone was stunned when they saw it. When the others saw it, they all stared at Lin Xian and gnashed their teeth. Xueqi had indeed said, "Elders, fellow disciples, I just broke through, and I want to consolidate it. All right, Xueqi, you should rest first. When the banquet starts, we will congratulate you properly." The elders all left with their juniors. Xueqi gathered her subordinates and said, "Build a new mansion for me. I will go to another place to live temporarily." She left with Lin Xian. The news that Xueqi had successfully broken through and become a Saint King spread out from the Thousand Mountain Paradise. When the other paradises and ancient clans people learned about it, they were all shocked. They all received invitations, and they all set out. The Misty Peaks people also learned about it, and they also sent out a team to go there. Soon, the day of the banquet arrived. The Thousand Mountain Paradise became very lively, and the young disciples all had smiles on their faces. Xueqi was the star of this banquet, and what they needed to do was to attract her attention. They had already heard from their elders that Yanjiu had died. Since that was the case, they could go and chase after Xueqi. In the past, because of Yanjiu's existence, many people wanted to get Xueqi's attention. However, they didn't dare to. But now, he didn't have to worry about that anymore. If he could get married to Xueqi, he wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. If they could marry Xueqi, their families and their own families would all soar. They had arrived at the Green Hill Paradise. A loud voice came from outside, and a team was invited in. It was the Green Hill Paradise's people. Countless people turned their heads to look, and they all cried out in surprise. The Green Hill Paradise's people were all handsome, and they were like fairies. Many people cried out in surprise. Many people's eyes turned red. They couldn't get Princess Xueqi, but if they could marry a fairy from the Green Hill Paradise, it would be good too. Next, the Howren Paradise, White Cloud Paradise, and Flying Feather Paradise's people all arrived. The last to arrive was the Purple Spirit Paradise's people. Many people were surprised that young Master Ling Tian had come as well. Many people whispered, Didn't this guy say that he was severely injured and poisoned? How did he recover? His grandfather was a supreme elder, a great saint. He must have personally helped him to expel the poison and heal his injuries. The Purple Spirit Paradise's people had a cold expression, and their eyes were cold. To be honest, he was very angry. He was beaten up by a mysterious person for no reason, and he was severely injured. He was even poisoned. Indeed, it was the great saint who saved him. However, this also caused his cultivation and strength to fall. After all, his foundation was injured, and his soul was injured. Now, he had fallen to the peak of the Saint Venerable realm, and he was no longer a half-step Saint King. This made him gnash his teeth. Especially when he heard that Shuichi had successfully broken through to become a Saint King, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Chapter 4466. He was supposed to be the first to break through. But now, the glory had fallen to someone else. But fortunately, it was Shuichi. If he could marry Shuichi, everything would be perfect. Apart from the people from the 5 grotto heavens, there were also dozens of ancient race and other experts. It could be said that the 1,000 Mountain Grotto was extremely lively. The elders and geniuses of the 1,000 Mountain Grotto were also coming in and out to receive the guests. At this moment, a voice came from the foot of the mountain, welcoming the ethereal peak. As soon as the voice came out, the people in the grotto fell silent. Countless people turned their heads to look. Even the ethereal peak was here? This was unbelievable. The 1,000 Mountain Grotto was actually so influential. The elders and experts of the other grotto heavens were also shocked. The people of the 1,000 Mountain Grotto smiled. Great! They did not expect the people of the ethereal peak to come. Some of the core elders also started to move, and went to welcome them. The ethereal peak was in existence above them. No one dared to be careless. The people of the other grotto heavens were also extremely respectful and pious. From afar, a white jade bridge appeared, connecting the heavens and the earth. Countless Taoists were intertwined on it. There were a few figures on the bridge. The one in front was a middle-aged man. He was tall and wore armor that shone with cold light. His aura was extremely shocking. It was him. Dugu. Many elders of the grotto heavens narrowed their eyes. They did not expect such a person to come here. Some of the young people did not know who this person was. They only knew that his aura was extremely terrifying. They asked, "Elder, is this person powerful?" The elders said, "How dare you be so rude to Elder Dugu?" Saint King Dugu was a late-stage Saint King. He was also an elder of the ethereal peak and had an extraordinary status. He was not someone you could talk about. Did you hear that? The disciples were so scared that their scalps went numb. How terrifying was the elder of the ethereal peak! At the same time, they were even more confused. Why would such a person come for the 1,000 Mountain Grotto? Could it be that something big was going to happen? Even the elders of the 1,000 Mountain Grotto were stunned. They originally thought that they would send some young disciples. But now, such a powerful elder had come personally. For a moment, they were all stunned. The expression of Shuichi's father, Elder Xianhai, changed drastically. Since such an important person had come, he must inform the Supreme Elder as soon as possible. He secretly transmitted his voice. However, as soon as he moved, 2 powerful auras surged over from afar. "Greetings, Patriarch." The people of 1,000 Mountain Grotto Heaven kept worshipping. The people from the other grotto heavens also bowed and greeted the 2 great sages. Countless people looked up at him. Was this the great sage? It was really too terrifying. It was the Holy Heaven's ancestor and the Black Ice ancestor. The 2 of them looked ahead when they arrived. They landed on a cloud and smiled. They didn't expect fellow Taoist Dugu of Ethereal Peak to come personally. How disrespectful. The 2 seniors are too polite. Dugu said indifferently as he cupped his fists. Fellow Taoist Dugu, please. The two grand elders will personally lead the way. The surrounding people were all stunned. Although Dugujua was powerful, he was only a late-stage Saint King. Yet, the two great sages were treating him with such respect. In fact, they were treating him as equals. It was truly unbelievable. However, this also showed how extraordinary Ethereal Peak was. It was probably completely above the grotto heavens. 2 seniors, please. Duguju didn't dare to be careless. After all, they were 2 living fossils, 2 great sages. The 3 of them walked forward together. The surrounding people stepped back and made a path for them. There were also a few figures following behind Duguju. Xingchen and Yuehua were among them. The group was invited to the most honorable place and sat down. After that, the 2 utmost exalted elders also sat down. Everyone was seated. The others also sat down. At this moment, a red-crowned crane was flying in the distance, with 2 figures standing on top of it. It was Fairy Shuiqi. She was here! With a cry of surprise, countless people raised their heads and looked into the distance. The eyes of the young disciples instantly lit up. She was so beautiful. She was like a fairy from the 9th heaven. Shuiqi had dressed up meticulously today. Her exquisite snow robe made her look even more noble. She looked like an ice queen. As soon as she appeared, she attracted countless gazes and countless exclamations. The crane flew and circled in the air. Then it landed. Shuiqi walked down. Lin Xian also landed behind her. Lin Xian looked around curiously. The people who came this time were more powerful than the people who had gathered at Mount Han. He also found that the 6 grotto heavens were all here. Especially when he sensed the 2 aged figures sitting at the very front, his pupils abruptly shrunk. The aura of a great sage. They were real great sages. He took a deep breath. As expected of a grotto heaven. It was much more powerful than the holy city. There were even great sages here. And there was more than one. Who was this person? When he saw Duguju, he was also stunned. Duguju was only a late-stage Saint Venerable. However, he could sit on the same level as a great sage. This surprised him. However, when he saw Xingchen and Yuehua sitting beside Duguju, he immediately understood what was going on. He had seen these 2 people before. They were from Misty Peak. He guessed that the middle-aged man sitting at the front was also an expert from Misty Peak. It seemed like Misty Peak's status was really important. Xingchen's eyes shone brightly as he stared at Shuiqi. A smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. As expected of the person he had taken a fancy to. She was even more beautiful than he had imagined. However, when he saw Lin Xian, he furrowed his brows. Once he married Shuiqi, this battle servant wouldn't need to exist anymore. Many people's gazes also fell on Lin Xian. There were even some geniuses who were envious of him. They wished they could turn into battle servants and stay by Shuiqi's side. Cheer, let me introduce you. This is Elder Dugu of Misty Peak. He came here especially for this meeting. You should thank him properly. Xianhai stood up and looked at his daughter with a smile. Shuiqi was also surprised. Did Elder Dugu of Misty Peak come here personally? Did he come here to take a disciple? Junior Shuiqi greets Elder Dugu. You are too polite. My niece, Shuiqi, has great talent. It is only a matter of time before she joins Misty Peak. Shuiqi also smiled as she thanked Elder Dugu for his praise. She had always wanted to join Misty Peak. The other people also went into an uproar. They all guessed that Duguju had come here to take a disciple. These people were the outstanding geniuses of Misty Peak. Xianhai pointed at Xingchen and the others. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.